Well, my goodness, how is everybody tonight? I hope y'all are doing great. As you can see, we got a dude on the screen already. We will get to him later. I am just trying to make sure everything looks wonderful for y'all, and I'm running just a hair behind schedule because why not? Also, if I sound like I have like swallowed a frog, yes, Michael, I did. Um, I was really sick on Thursday night, Friday morning, and when you throw up that much, the acid kind of screws up the back of your throat, and you can't really talk that well for a couple days after. And so I am just now getting my voice to where it comes back. But the cool thing is that we have some amazing guests here tonight, and I'm going to introduce them in just a second. Right now, if you could like, subscribe. If you're watching this afterwards, hit and leave a comment. Please, that helps this so much. Hitting that like button and leaving a comment on the video afterwards even is such a huge help. YouTube sees that and it'll get this out to so many people. Also, if you can, please share this out. Be super appreciative. We have a few people who have been in here from the start. We got Twisted Sin, we got Goku 1973, JP Loco. Hey, Twisted Sin got that green, sporting that green in the chat. I like that. Guys, if you're not a member, you can hit that join button. You get shout out every week. You also have access to certain content. And yes, it's really awesome. Supports the channel. Been super appreciative. And you get a green badge. And you then get to use emojis. So yeah, tons of cool stuff. We got JP Loco. We got Hero Down Under. We got Michael Meridian. We got Outsider Gaming Night. Man, we are feeling it out tonight. Okay, so as you can see, we have a ton of amazing topics tonight. It is going to be absolutely bananas. These are less topics than last week. We might not get to all of them. We probably won't get to all of them, but they are here. Now, as one of the guys who's on the panel tonight says, I waffle on too much, so let's go ahead and bring the panel over.
Begging for it. No, you want to
Guys,
too bad.
how are y'all doing?
Very good. Very good.
Good.
How are you, Thrifty?
I am fantastic. So, just going to introduce y'all real quick. We have the amazing, the wonderful Xbox ambassador, Morghan Kimes, also known as the Chill Bandit. You can find all of her stuff in the description below. Morghan, it was a good past few days for Xbox. How are you?
I'm great. Can't complain. Yeah, but you're right. It was a past good few days for
It
Xbox.
started that way at least.
Yeah.
So, what have you been playing?
I have basically been, diving headfirst, submerged deeply. Haven't been focusing on anything else but Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. I am fully in love with that game. Like it makes no sense how much I'm obsessed with the game. I love it to death. I'm trying to plat it before the second game comes out, which is going to be kind of difficult because it comes out on the 3rd. So right around the corner. I did beat it. Like I finished it last night, but I still have the collection type trophies and I gotta clean it up, essentially, with I think I have 20 something trophies left, but absolutely loving it. I mean, if you don't know what Kingdom Come Deliverance is, it's essentially a first person RPG more towards the realistic side of RPGs. You have the management system where you have to eat, sleep, drink, all that kind of things, and you're essentially playing just a regular guy in like 1603 Roman times, essentially, and it's like playing A Knight's Tale. Great movie, if you ever seen it.
It is a fantastic movie.
Yes, it is. R.I.P. Heath Ledger. But
I quote Geoffrey Chaucer often in real life. Like, to trudge
or
the
man.
yes, the slow, weary, depressing yet determined walk of a man who has nothing left except merely to soldier on.
I need a hype man like that. Like somebody
Right?
to talk like that when I wake up in the morning. So I'm like excited for the day. They announce my presence to the world essentially.
To
That's what I need
everybody
in my life.
not sitting on a cushion. Fantastic movie.
The
Fantastic.
savor of Italian virginity. I was like, yes, yes, absolutely right. But yeah, I've just been doing that. Playing that game has been amazing. Even with like the quirks that it has, it's not perfect. It was made by a smaller studio with like $1 million budget, but it still is great in all its form factors. But apparently, from the reviews and everything that I've been hearing about the second one, it's basically what the first one should have been. It's basically what the devs envisioned for the game. If they had the funding that they do now,
That's
which
sick.
excites the hell out of me. To be honest, I'm so ready for this game. It's amazing. If you haven't checked out Kingdom Come Deliverance, please do. If you like RPGs, if you like that realistic kind of game where you have to manage, your health and your appetite and things of that nature, and the combat in itself is amazing. You actually have to think. It's not a button masher. If you're in your armor, the enemy you're fighting is also in their armor, so you have to battle them strategically. It's like a nice old-fashioned kind of duel kind of thing sometimes when you're one-on-one with enemies. And if they are hitting you from up into the right, you have to hit them like below and to the left at their weak point where they're not blocking. But it's very methodic, and you have to, the parry system is, the window is very small, so you have to be paying attention, and you have to know what you're doing. But when you master it, it just feels amazing. But let me not, because I'll talk about it forever. So, but I'm gonna wrap it up. That's it. Yeah.
Talk about games on a gaming show. That's weird.
Sorry, did you? Sorry, just to cut in, Morgan. Did you say
Yeah.
that it's got swords and stuff?
It
Oh,
does,
absolutely. It's got swords. It's got maces. You got
but not
axes.
samurai
So
swords.
wait, so it's a Souls like,
No.
She did
No,
mention
it's
parry
full-
but it's got a
Yeah.
sword.
and
Yeah,
parry.
it's got swords. It's first person. It's like a
No, I'm kidding, I'm
full-on
kidding.
RPG.
No.
So I'm just kidding because
It's a
everyone
joke
says,
on the
like,
channel.
Oh,
Yeah,
isn't it
it's-
Souls like. As soon as you got a sword, sorry.
Yeah, I got
Sorry,
you.
yeah,
I
yeah.
got you.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, that is gamers though, especially new ones. Like as soon as you say something is difficult, oh, Souls like? No.
No.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not.
It makes
No.
me cringe.
My favorite
that's
thing
good,
is,
yeah.
it
But-
has a parry and a combo system. It's a Souls game. No,
Because
No, yeah.
Souls
You
invented
can-
that apparently.
Yeah, and you can die and come back to life. Oh,
There was
okay.
somebody
Souls
who
like.
said, I
But yeah,
don't want to hear.
what you said about. Yeah, go.
I was gonna say there was somebody who said I don't want to hear about how Ninja Gaiden is a Souls-like, and I
Yeah,
about
yeah.
died
Yeah,
laughing. I
actually,
was like,
yeah.
"That's funny as shit." All right, go ahead,
Yeah.
Wara. Sorry, man. What's up, dude?
Yeah, what I was gonna say is, like, how good is it when you get a game that you're like, oh, I'm probably not gonna like it, or you sort of don't know, and then you just end up loving the hell out of it. I love that.
I love
Yeah.
I love
it.
that when it
I
happens.
love-
It encourages me to
amazing
try more. Yeah.
surprise. I just
Yeah.
and then especially when you're playing a game and you're trying it, or you're picking it back up, because I originally played it like back in 2020, but for whatever reason I dropped it. I guess it was a little too hard, or I didn't have the patience to finish it. But I saw the second one was coming out, so that's why I picked it back up. And that's what's even better. You play a game, you start it over again, and you're like, oh wow, I didn't appreciate it the first time around, but this is amazing. And then you have the wonderful gift of a sequel coming right around the corner. It's always so great, that feeling. You're like, oh man, I get to play the even better version soon. Let's go.
For sure, yeah.
Man, so
I can't wait for Kingdom Come 2 either.
Yes.
I'm excited. Yeah.
So excited.
the next guest is a consecutive guest. We haven't had that in 4 months now. And so this is so I have an Xbox guy or lady, sorry, not guy. I have an Xbox lady on the channel. I'm a PlayStation guy through and through. I don't even own an Xbox, and the only game my PC's ever played is Diablo 1, not 4. And so I needed a PC guy. So I got Wara Wana. He is definitely the closest thing I actually know and can stomach to a PCMR guy. And it's because he thinks PCMR stands for PC Mediocre Race. And so, Wara, how are you, sir?
Just to clarify, that was a joke he made up. I don't actually think that.
Yes, he
I'm
does.
a firm believer in you play wherever you want. I really don't care. Just talk to me about games. Yeah, just have your opinion, have your preference, and play wherever you want. I
And
play on
Morgan's not
PlayStation,
actually like
Switch,
a
and PC.
Xbot or anything like that. For those who might be
I'm a
listening
firm bot,
afterwards.
actually. Don't even listen to Thrifty. Okay.
Fake news, fake news.
Fake
Um,
news.
yeah, yeah. I was a level 4 Xbox ambassador as well. I actually signed up the day that King Crash did
Nice.
his what's it called? You know, he did a live stream where he signed up to the program, and anyway,
Oh, speaking of
go
King
follow King
Thrash,
Thrash's new channel. Yeah,
yes, speaking of Thrash, the link to his new channel is in the description. I didn't tell him I was going to do that. I didn't ask him to do that, but he got his channel taken down by some out of touch bots, and so we're going to go ahead and see if we can't support him as much as we can over here. Okay, so go check that out. Wara, what have you been playing, man?
I'm very close to platinuming Elden Ring on PS4 now. So the
Ooh.
first playthrough took me 24 hours. So I'm on playthrough run 2 now. So the only 2 trophies I have left are the 2 different endings that I didn't already do. So I've already platinumed on PS5, and I am at the same point on Steam as well. So I just have two more just run through playthroughs to finish, which should only take a couple of hours. Just rushing through everything on New Game Plus to get the platinum on PS4 now and Steam. So I've been playing that pretty aggressively because my kids just started going to school. My twin 5-year-olds, they just started school this week, so I've got a little bit of spare time to kill around work. So I've been thrashing that because it's harder to play. Souls games are harder to play with no pause button. With kids, you might have to go choke slam for being naughty, but not really. That's a joke. I don't choke slam them. But yeah, you know what I mean.
He's like,
But
oh
yeah, I've been
wait, I'm
playing that
talking
at
to
the
people
moment.
all over the world. Americans don't know jokes and humor about child care.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so that's all I've really been playing this week. So it's pretty boring, but like my build is pretty cool. It's like a two-handed great sword, and I basically just spam its special attack. So it's pretty brain dead build, but it's pretty OP, so it's enjoyable. So yeah.
Man, that's awesome, dude. I've been kind of away from the PlayStation lately. Well, since Friday because
Yeah.
of what happened, and I would try to pick up a couple extra hours on Saturday. Sunday was church with family. I had a tournament that night, and not a tournament that night. Sorry, a I
A
started
church
feeling
tournament.
no, I started feeling sick again that day. Like I went to church, or I went to work on Saturday. Started, anyways, all everything aside, I have not touched my PlayStation in like 4 days, and I started itching in my car on like in my work van on the way home today, like, and I literally feel it right now. Like as I'm on here, I'm thinking, okay, I know I can't stay on track when I'm not playing video games and talking, but could I try
So
it?
what was the first day you got sick? Was it like the 24th?
It was Thursday night, yes. So that
So
would
you
have
got sick
been
so that's a nice segue. You got sick right after the developer direct.
yes.
So that
Mm,
show was so good,
connection.
you got
Mm,
sick.
That show
You
was
were like,
so
PlayStation
good.
can't compete with this. I feel
yeah.
sick in my stomach.
Real pony.
I was
Oh.
Right
like,
there.
man,
Thrifty just can't
I
handle
can't.
that
Mm.
Xbox was finally bringing the
I
heat.
can't.
Oh
It
my
was
God.
so
Secret
terrible.
Santa.
It's all, yeah.
It was so bad. But so here's the way here's the way everything went. I start like dev direct comes out. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm gonna let that breathe for a second. I'm gonna let them have their victory. I'm not gonna come in and talk about how all of them are coming and South of Midnight's gonna be there eventually. No, 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 no. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna be nice. Let them have their time. Then everything happened. I got sick, did all that. I'm seeing crap pop off on Saturday. Phil Spencer did an interview with Paris. What? Phil Spencer did an interview with Diston. What? Who? Huh? Really? Yeah, it's nuts. There's no red line. All games are Starfield's, and I'm like, what the fuck happened? And then like it just keeps going. And then today, Microsoft financials come out, and it's just a bloodbath. And we find out from an independent like source, I'm sorry, an independent, I guess, data collection firm that PS gamers bought more Xbox games than Xbox gamers bought Xbox games. And so, and that's
Wasn't
not,
sorry, it was the revenue. Sorry, just to
that's, I was
clarify,
going
it
to
was
say,
the
that's
revenue.
not technically accurate. It was the revenue.
Sorry, yep, yep.
They made more revenue off of PS5 gamers or PS gamers than they did off of Xbox gamers or
Yep.
and PC gamers combined. So like everything just snowballed. Oh, and in there to somehow try to save face, when the news about Herman came out, everyone was like, "Oh, Herman got demoted. Herman got demoted," and I'm sitting there going, "Wait!" And even in the Discord, I was like, "Okay, I need Josh on this one. Like, Josh, explain to me what I'm missing, because he's doing the same damn thing he was before. So what am I missing? Did he get demoted, or is this just a nothing burger?" And then the way Josh described it was Hiroki Totoki moved up, Nishino moved up, Herman stayed right the fuck where he's at. Nothing changed except the title. And he now has to report to Hideki Nishino.
Yeah,
And
like Hero said, he missed out on a second promotion.
right.
So yeah, like that you can say something like that, but actually dropping downwards, yeah, he didn't really, from what all the information tells us, that factual information
Exactly.
tells us. Yeah.
Yeah.
But can I just say something about this in general and just all the other information we're getting this week and we
Yeah,
always get, and it's always
sure.
true. Arguing with someone who's an idiot or intentionally disingenuous, like someone like Colt Eastwood, who's intentionally saying something they don't believe just to be disingenuous, is like playing chess with a pigeon. No matter how good you're at chess, they will walk over the board, kick the pieces over, shit on it, and act like they won. So it it is literally pointless trying to, because someone in Discord was like, "Oh, we're going to teach everyone about how it all works," and it's just like it's not our job to fix mental illness. So yeah, well, I'm not saying let's not discuss it. It's just like the people when they're presented with the factual information, they don't want to trust it or don't want to listen to it. What do we do? You can't really do much more. Sometimes people just need to be. I don't want to use the word ignored because everyone's entitled to their voicing their opinion, but Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
sometimes
but
it's just
some
like
of it was
muddying of
from
the waters just gets so muddy that it's just mud. It's not muddy water anymore. It's just mud.
some of it was from the PlayStation guys though. Like he didn't get
Yes.
demoted. This isn't because
Yes.
of live service. This isn't he's
Yeah,
so here's my theory.
I'm not on Twitter, so I didn't realize.
Dear
I know
God,
that.
dude.
I know
Yeah.
that. I know
Yeah.
that.
So
What's his name? Dreamcast guy. I know he's not like in quotations a PS guy, but Dreamcast guy did a video
Okay,
apparently
Jan.
about him being fired. And Lono actually made a good point. He said he has never framed himself as a journalist or an investigative journalist or anything like that. Like he is just a guy making content. So
Sure.
whatever he says shouldn't be taken as gospel, and that's probably factual. Like I don't really watch Dreamcast guy, but I know that he makes content that's like intentionally trying to get people's flared up. So
But if you're
yeah.
gonna sit there and so there was a lot of stuff going on with this, and it I'm not trying to be this way, but it feeds the narrative that I have been kind of weaving since we found out that there was going to be no first party single player games, uh, uh, no big
Tentpole
tentpole
ones or whatever.
tentpole. Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
thank you. I was looking for the right word. No tentpole games for fiscal year 2024. I saw that as a reset. I saw that as a hey, we need to take a break and we need to get this crap in order. I feel like it was so out of whack. And we saw that with the projects that have been canceled. They had all these big retirements looming on the horizon that you're trying to put successors in place. You're trying to get stuff set up. You have an overspending problem. Totoki came in and like rolled heads on that crap, got that ball rolling in 2023. And now you're sitting here after all of these sweeping changes have been made, after all of this stuff has been put in place, and now the final structure kind of comes into where they want. I think they needed all three hands to kind of not fix necessarily, but to restructure and to get everything back to where they needed to be. And I think it took all three of them, Totoki, Nishino, and Holst, having those executive powers, being able to go in and not have to deal with a ton of red tape because they are the head guys, taking care of their own respective departments and saying, hey, we need to get this wrapped up. And now that it is, I think that this was always the the line that it was going to go. Now, time will tell if I am correct on that. But Morgan, do you think I'm too off base in that, or do you have a different theory as to what happened?
No, I mean, I don't think you're too off base. We can never know exactly what going on in the workings of, these billion-dollar corporations.
No, I
But
have a
I
source.
mean, okay, you must have the same sources as a lot of these bots out here.
That's right.
I
That's
feel you.
right.
I feel you. But yeah, I don't really think you're too off base. I just think with everything that's been going on, the co-manager style situation that they had with Herman, um, and the other guy, that was always temporary. I mean, PlayStation announced it as such, right, when they initiated it, because Jim left, and so they needed a little bit of restructuring until they found who was going to take his place, right? It was always a trial run kind of thing. So I just think they wanted to go more with the hardware guy, whose maybe name is not as besmirched as Herman's, and they just kind of went with him for the promotion. And then, of course, Hiroki Totoki took over as the Sony head. So he's now all over the entirety of Sony. Probably because of his financial background and
Which, thank God,
how
can we
he's.
please get that scary man away from my PlayStation? Please. Can we please get that scary dude away from my PlayStation?
I know, but it's just I'm hoping that this restructure kind of what you and everybody's been saying is kind of gives us back to a refresh to what we all loved with the PlayStation 4 generation, right? The banger single players. Like, I understand that, especially with the way PlayStation has set themselves up with their big tentpole exclusives, right? We all love the Hollywood style, big blockbuster single player games, but those come at a cost, right? These are multi-million, hundreds of millions of dollars project, right? And because of that, because they set the bar so high for themselves, it's hard for them to then be like, okay, we're going to cut the budget, we're going to cut it in half, we're going to cut it into a fourth, right? Because that's what we're expecting. We're expecting the best of the best in terms of quality and graphics and taking advantage of the console. And so it's like they kind of shot themselves in the foot for that, because now if they were to cut the budget, if they were to make a smaller style game, or try to do smaller style games, it's like people are going to be upset, right? They're going to be like, wow, this isn't what I expect from Naughty Dog, this isn't what I expect from Santa Monica, this isn't what I expect from Gorilla, right? They're expecting these blowout games. So it's gonna take something. Like, I don't know what it is exactly that PlayStation will be able to do to kind of reset that, because like I said, something's gonna have to give at some point, because game prices and development costs are only gonna go up, right? And the money has to come from somewhere. So, is it gonna come from PC? Is it going to come from a multi-platform style release? Is it going to come from doing even more remasters and remakes? I think that's what
I
PlayStation
think they're
is
running
really
out of
trying
shit to
to assess.
remaster and remake, though, aren't they? Like,
But they're gonna remaster and remake the remasters and remakes. What you
like,
mean? Like,
aren't they running out? Like, unless they start digging back into the well of like the
uh,
PS3, the
unless they start
PS2,
doing
maybe.
the remasters and remakes that people actually want, like the
I'll say
PS3
this:
and
what they
PS2
could
stuff.
do is do a really sick like PS3 like bundle. Do you remember those like Sega Classic bundles that you could get?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It comes with like 6 games or something.
Yeah, it comes
Yeah.
with 6 games on it. Just give us like
Mm-hmm.
PS3 RPGs, PS3 action adventure. Like they could sell the shit out of those. Just
Yeah, that would probably would sell pretty good. The question is like, who would they put in charge of doing these bundles, right? What would be
that's
the
true.
studio,
I mean,
to take care of that?
pick one. Shit. You got
But
38 of
then
them.
people
Shit,
would be
just pick
mad because they'll
one.
be
I'm
like,
just
"Wait,
kidding.
you
They
put
don't have 38.
Insomniac on a bundle? What,
That's
PlayStation?
true.
They could have been making
You're
my
right.
other game." People would have been pissed,
You're absolutely right. I don't get Horizon 75. What are you
Right.
doing?
I was about to say, oh yeah, first of all, Herman ain't gonna do anything that messes with Horizon's schedule. You already know, you already know that's his baby, and we're gonna get that 75th, Horizon,
Racer. It's gonna be a
remaster,
Horizon
or it's
Racer
gonna be, yeah, it's gonna be
where
a
you can
racer.
upgrade your Striders. That's what
They're
it's
gonna make a
gonna be.
fighter. Okay, they're gonna make everything Horizon, because
You
that's
can,
the the mascot for PlayStation now. Apparently, that's the only IP that can get like can kind of diversify its portfolio a little bit.
Like, jeez.
But
So, sorry.
just I love Horizon 2. I absolutely I got the plats to prove it. I love it, but it's just I just feel like their PlayStation has a plethora of IP, but Herman's like just obsession with Horizon is killing me. Like I'm like, bro, if we get one more Horizon spinoff, I swear to God.
I definitely agree. I feel like that is the most pushed IP I've ever seen. And that doesn't mean, chat, that doesn't mean you're not allowed to enjoy it. You're allowed to love the hell out of that IP. But I just feel like it's so much all at once. How good was it when God of War 2018 came out? Everyone frothed it, and then 2022, Ragnarok came out. It's just like, bam, bam, let's not fuck around, man. And this whole Horizon IP, don't forget, people, PSVR 2 also had a Horizon game. So while I'm not against any of those games, I'm not like advocating for less games, but it's all on the IP, and I feel like it's just all in on the one IP. And yeah, it's just like, look at Insomniac. They're not like, Insomniac's not the Spider-Man studio. Like it seems like the I'm gonna miss what the name is again. Gorilla is now just they're the Horizon devs, and it's just like they don't have to only do Horizon, but
I have been a big proponent of them doing a new IP. Like, of course, Alo's story is not finished. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil it, but left off on a cliffhanger. There's another story to tell. Yeah, but I would not be upset if they just kind of like, I don't know if they either split the team or they just put Horizon on pause and just do a new IP and then go back to Horizon. Like, I wouldn't be upset with that because the Decima engine is freaking goated, and it's a shame that it's only been really useful for two IPs, so Death Stranding as well. But
we have two studios, and this is not where we were going to go tonight, but this is where we're going to go now. We have two studios in Insomniac and Gorilla, or Insomniac and Santa Monica. Santa Monica's working on 2 games, but we have Insomniac. Well, supposedly, we
allegedly.
Allegedly, right. We have Insomniac working on 3 games with 3 teams. When one team gets done with a certain section of a game, they move over. We have a company like BioWare who sees that design and goes, hey, you know what? We're restructuring. We are trying to get more streamlined. We don't need our entire dev team to finish up and do the finishing touches and to build the next section of Mass Effect 5. We don't need it. So we've moved them on to a new project. That's why you're going to see shifts from that section of our studios. Like, so when you see the numbers and go, whoa, where'd those people go? They're over here. Cool. It's that Insomniac setup. Square Enix has done it for a long time, or used to at least, where one team would get done with environments and they would go to the next. Basically, the way it always worked in my head was they just went over to the next cubicle and like worked on the next set of environments.
Well, they probably stay in the same cubicle, but I'm not.
Right. Right, that's how it's always been to me. Like, whether they get in an elevator, go to the next floor, and now we're on Final Fantasy X. Cool. And like, that's just in my brain how it works. But like, why can't a studio like Gorilla be able to have 2 IPs running at the same time? Like,
well, if we bring it back to before Ghost 2 was announced, Morgan, you'll probably remember that when I was just a simple chatter in the Otter podcast, and everyone was arguing with Omar, and I was commenting saying I am completely fine with them not doing a Ghost 2 because I am a firm believer. I've used the word firm too many times. That's the last one for the show today. It's too many otherwise. I don't want to. Yeah. Anyway. So with that. When they actually announced it, I was excited for it. You know why? Because the protagonist was changed. And we're not going into their gender, but the protagonist was changed, and I was glad. I was like, yeah, you love to see it. It's not going to be the same thing. At least with Horizon, if they're going to stay with the Horizon like IP, then you don't have to stick to the same protagonist. And I know that a lot of people want to stay as Jin. And I'm not against people wanting that, but I'm a firm believer of wanting to leave the customer or myself wanting more as opposed to giving me too much and me just going, I've had enough. Yeah. So I feel like it's like Elden Ring left me wanting a little bit more, even though it was a lot to chew. And then the DLC came out, and I was like, "Holy crap, that's a lot!" And then they've come out with Night Rain, and I was just like, "Oh, like at least it's way different." But if that was just like Elden Ring 2, I'm pretty sure I would have been like, "Oh, maybe you could have done something different." So,
Yeah.
it's not. Yeah. So I just feel like that's why, on reflection of God of War, MMO, live service game that they were talking about. I know this was last week's news, but when I heard that, I'm like, what were they thinking? But in reality, after reflection this morning, I was like, hang on a sec. I think I'd rather them, assuming they're not leaked to us, I'd rather them be looking at things to try to do and spend a couple of months getting it together and looking to see whether it can actually work and actually trying it. Because stories are like, if you think that every game that gets approved and greenlit actually gets to us, like us gamers, then you're cooked. Because let's use an example like Scalebound. That being cancelled when it was shown so much hurt gamers, and then Phil coming out and saying, "Oh, this was good for gamers." That's just like, no, you're gaslighting everyone. That's not good. So while I would have preferred not to hear about things that are cancelled because everyone just starts going, "What if?" Then I feel like it would be nice if they did try a little bit more to be more what's the word? More risk takey, as opposed to sticking to the same protagonist. If if everyone loves the world so much, at least give them a different perspective on the world. So instead of it being Aloy again, so yeah. But again, I'm not against Aloy being the person. Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying. So that's just my little bit. Sorry to cut in.
No, you're not cutting. You're actually on the panel, so you're actually not cutting in. This is what you're here for.
All right, sorry. I'm so used to being a viewer.
I feel that. I feel that. That's probably how I'm gonna be when I'm on Otter Players. Whenever I can, I really want to.
Not. Better kick your feet up.
Kick your feet up. That's right. Okay, so it irritates me to see a studio like Insomniac under the PlayStation Studios umbrella, and then I look at the other studios and go, do y'all just look at yourself in the mirror at the night and go, I am not adequate enough for anything? Like, do you like just look at Insomniac and like just
Was that you
feel...
saying it to yourself, Thrifty, or is your missus saying it to you?
My missus is always happy.
Oh, okay.
That's a damn lie. But most of the time. Guys, speaking of that, our office smells like a rose bouquet. She made a rose soap for Valentine's Day. It's a limited release soap.
Aww.
And it's all natural, so it uses like rose essential oil and geranium and something else. Like, it smells like I'm walking through a freaking florist place.
That's adorable.
So, okay, no, or does she tell you? Yeah. Okay, so I kind of want to get into the next thing, but because I do have a PC guy here, and I do know that he has absolutely ranted on this several times, at least in the Discord. He was one of the guys who really kind of sparked me to pay attention to it. Let me pull it up real quick, because I had it saved, and then it left. Hang on, Sony stops PC requirement. So yeah, basically the Sony is taking away the PC requirement for 4 of their games. It's just 4. It's just 4.
No promise beyond
That's
that.
what I heard on Twitter.
What in the actual fuck is up with that number? Like, it's just 4 games. It's just 4. It's just 4 more. Now it's just 4 places. Like, geez, guys. Like, pick a different number. Just come out and say something that, like, hey, guess what?
Yeah.
Like, anyways, sorry. It just, geez. Did you see at the beginning of the Dev Direct it said 4 games? And I was like, shit, Phil. Y'all are dumb as fuck.
Technically, it's 5.
Why would you? I get that, but at the
Technically, it was
beginning of
5,
the
though.
Dev Direct, the freaking clip said 4 games, and I'm sitting here going, why mention 4 games at the beginning of your Dev Direct when that's automatically going to trigger your entire fan base to go, wait, he said only 4 games were coming. This
That's
asshole.
the lucky number for Xbox.
Yeah. Oh no, I meant Josh. I meant the Dev Direct was actually 5 because of the Shadow Drop.
It's just 4, but it was actually 5. He can't. Yeah.
And last year it was 4 as well. Yeah.
4. Yeah. I mean,
actually 5,
that's a great, like, the way they did their the Dev Direct, that's a wonderful like setup. I think it was great. I just thought it was funny, and I think 4 games is plenty to show in that short amount of time if you're going to go in depth like that. Like, they did fine. I just thought it was hilarious that at the beginning it said 4 games, and like nobody thought that was a red flag. Nobody said, "Hey, we probably that still stings in our fan base. We probably shouldn't say that starting out." Anyway, so the not Xbox, shit. PlayStation is removing the PSN requirement for Ghost of Tsushima, God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Uh, Basically, not only are they removing the requirements, but they are giving people an incentive to join and make a PlayStation account. Skins, things of that nature. Like, funny enough, Wara actually suggested doing that when he and I were talking one day, and I think we were in we were on the Discord in a voice chat with another person. It might have been Cosmic, but we were sitting there chatting about it. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Wara actually you made this like suggestion. Obviously, Sony doesn't listen to our Discord, or do they? But you made a suggestion. So
No,
what do you think about this?
Sorry, did you say Morgan or me? I
You.
actually started talking.
You.
Oh, me, yeah. Sorry, yeah. I made the suggestion, but I can't say that it was me who like first thought of it. I'd seen a suggestion like that already, so I can't remember where. But this is an example. Them forcing PSN is an example of you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Now, the reason I'm saying that is, let's go back to the Xbox One generation, because everything comes back to Xbox. Xbox wanted to have always online. They wanted to have all this stuff. They wanted to have it so the discs don't matter. But the thing is, people weren't ready for that. And that was all being forced. Forced equals bad, right? While I also don't like the illusion of a choice, which I don't have any good examples of at the moment that I really want to bring up, there is something where Sony has said like physical media isn't going away, and they're not forcing you away from it, and so no one feels pressured to go digital. But a lot of people are digital, as per stats that we see, especially recently. How much people are buying digitally only, right? Or just digitally in general. So that's an example. I will get back to the PSN thing, but the point is, yeah, thanks, Hero. The thing is, Sony's not forcing anybody to not get a disc drive to slap it on their Pro, but a lot of people do get it, right? But they're telling you that you can choose, right? But obviously, the consumer is more often than not choosing to not buy physically. So no one's going to hate on Sony for saying, "Oh, they forced everyone to go digitally." No, they never forced anyone. But with the PSN requirement, that was a forced thing, and a lot of countries that don't have PlayStation Network were not able to access the game either, which just caused the community online, especially with Helldivers. We all know the drama, especially with Helldivers, to be like split. Friends might have just started, and the other friends want to start now. They don't even have access to it. So that was always an issue for me, because there was no choice. Yes, making the account isn't an issue. You can just make a fake account. If you like another account, if you don't already have one, and all the rest. Like, yeah, it's not the end of the world in that sense. But being forced to do it is kind of annoying. Like when I played Redfall on PC, they forced me to make it a Bethesda account, and I was so close to just uninstalling because I didn't really want to play the game anyway. But I was like, fine, I'll make it. But it just annoyed me. As a consumer, I didn't like that feeling of being forced. But when I sign up to a free-to-play game and they're like, make an account to get a bonus, holy God, I'm like, yeah, free coins? Yeah, I'll get free coins. What do the coins do? I don't know, but they're free, right? So, like, it just... twisted, yes. I just wanted to play Redfall at launch. It was at launch, right? It's Colt Eastwood said the game was amazing. It was like, anyway. So, I'm joking. I don't actually watch Colt. But, so the reason I didn't like the forcing is you're trying to tell people who are likely going to pirate it on PC that you want to then force an account. And you know what's funny? A lot of them you can get like patches to get out the forced PSN, but it's the optics of it that's bad. That Sony's doing something, and like that the whole gaming community just wants to see Sony fail. So any chance they can attack them, they will. And it was just like a no-brainer to do that, like what free-to-play games do, where they're like, oh, make an account, give us your email address so we can spam you with suggested purchases. We'll give you this, this free skin or something. It was just such a slam dunk to do that. And when people said it's just like, oh, just sign up, it's like, well, you're setting a precedence to just say, it's a slippery slope to just say, I'll do whatever a company says. Because it's like, what's the next step? Next step is, do you guys remember the backlash between for Overwatch 2 when that came out and you needed you to update your Activision account to have a mobile number and not just a mobile phone number? I think you call them cell phones in America.
Mm-hmm.
You needed to have one that wasn't prepaid, so that people were talking like it was like a poor person like tax or I don't know. But the point is, because it was forced, people didn't like it, especially on a free-to-play game when they'd already bought the Overwatch 1. But yeah, I just never like anything that's like forced. And like I'm not like a fanboy for anything. I just sort of try my best to look at things as unbiasedly as possible. And it's just like the optics of this from Sony just didn't look good at all when they were forcing it. And the whole debacle with Helldivers 2, that's all said and done now, but it's just like it didn't look good from the perspective of gamers, and especially like outside looking in. It's like they're doing what? That's just so weird. Why would they do that? It's just, yeah, I didn't like it. So people were trying to say they were trying to combat piracy with the PSN linking, and I don't think that was the case. I think it's just better metrics and monthly active users.
It was definitely better metrics.
Yeah.
PlayStation. No, you're good. You're good. PlayStation just, I don't think they really. I mean, I think we've all said it here that they didn't really have high expectations for Helldivers 2. I'm sure they thought it was going to do okay, but I don't think they expected it to be their fastest selling game ever. And because of that, I think that's why they didn't have the PS login ready at launch. They were just like, yeah, it's whatever, let them play. And then they saw those metrics. They saw, like what you said, they saw those sales. They see the Steam numbers, and they're like, oh, okay, we need to get these MAUs immediately.
Yeah.
And so they rolled out that PSN requirement because they want all those Helldivers players, those numbers, to be added to their financial quarters, to be a part of their talking points whenever they bring out the PowerPoints and the graphs. So they hurried up and rolled that PSN requirement. But the problem is that Sony's pretty new to, like, at least releasing on PC, so they don't.
I thought
really
you were gonna
know
say
how
to
PC
customer
players
care. I was
operate.
like, damn. I thought you were gonna say they're
Yeah.
pretty new to customer care.
No,
Go
I mean, they act like it sometimes, but yeah, they're pretty new to the PC consumer base, and I think they thought they could just be like, yeah, we're gonna enforce this, and you're just gonna like it.
Yeah, and
that feedback was, ooh, man.
What's
like
messed up
the
though is
pushback.
that's because that's what their console market does.
Yeah,
I feel like they drastically underestimated the whole like community of Steam and how they just all band together and just change their reviews to negative, and just how much more of that an impact
Also,
that
the
makes.
fact that Steam has a very flexible refund policy. So people went and started refunding the hell out of Helldivers. They said, wait, hold on. We're sorry. Wait, stop.
Yeah.
Please stop refunding. Okay.
Stop burning our money.
We apologize. We didn't realize that y'all rolled like that. We're sorry.
We're still learning.
We're
They became Xbox for like 2 weeks.
Hold on, please. Wait, don't leave. We'll roll it back. We're sorry. But like Wara was saying, it should have been incentivized from the beginning. Like, it's not required, but here, if you want it, here's some cool incentives. If you do sign in for a PSN, like your trophies will move over. Your friends list will move over. Maybe even your save file will move over if you have a PS5. Like it should have just been incentivized to make people want to sign in for PSN. But the whole, we're gonna force you to do it, yeah, I can see how that would rub people the wrong way. They're like, wait a minute, I gotta do another login, like.
Yeah. So just to use an example for people who might not have ever looked on like Steam or whatever, and Starfield as just one example, Microsoft did not force anyone to make an Xbox account to play Starfield on Steam. So just as an example, you just.
Okay.
It's not because a lot of people would say, like, I actually thought they did before it all happened, and I started looking into it. a lot of people use the excuse like, oh, Rockstar forces you to use it for like I think Red Dead 2. And I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, okay, so cool. Okay, we'll use that example. Is that a good thing? Well, no, they've just done it. I'm like, yeah, but think about it. Just because they do it doesn't mean it's okay. Doesn't mean we should accept it everywhere. So even though, and like Rockstar doesn't care. They're just, like they'll do it because they know if you want to play GTA 5, you're going to be doing it. So they have that power in it, but that doesn't make it okay for them to do it, but they do it. So that's just, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And yeah, I did mention before, if you weren't here, that I had to make an account to play Redfall. So
Yeah,
Worth
that
it.
time. Yeah,
it,
I don't
it
know if it
they
was worth. Yeah,
they're
yeah. Like I
doing
played like a couple of missions, and then my mate's like, "Oh, do you want to play again? I want to finish the campaign." I'm like, "Dude, I honestly can't do it. I
That was
can't
that
do it."
that was me and Nate when we
Yeah,
played it because we played it on co-op. I think we got about 3 hours in. We were like,
yeah.
nah.
Like I always say this thing where it's like any game's good when you got good mates. Like you can just play through anything and just have a laugh.
Absolutely.
That game broke me with like I was just like, this is so bad. It doesn't matter who I'm playing with. I'm just like not having fun. It's
Yeah.
yeah, rip all fun in life. So I was like, I don't want to do it to myself. I'm 35. I'm too old to be doing something I just straight up hate.
Yes.
There
Yeah,
you go.
I just didn't do it. Like my time's too short. I'll just replay a game I know I like. Just
So
something else.
yes,
Yeah,
like everybody I think needs to have those like handful of games. Maybe for me there's only like 4 of them. But like
yeah,
handful of games that you can just go back to absolutely whenever and it doesn't matter. Like even if you have to restart the story. Like I have played through the first like 2/3 of Final Fantasy X probably a dozen times. I have beaten the game twice, but it's always a story in a game that I can go back to, right? It's always good to have
it's
those.
a feeling. It's more about the feeling that you get, I guess, for you. Like
Correct.
it's more about the memories, remembering when you played the first time and how good
Oh,
it made you
dude.
feel, I guess.
The
I'm guessing if you
story
played it that many
when
times.
like
Yeah.
Orin is there and he can't go. Anyways, never mind. Anyway, we're not going to get into Final Fantasy X.
Can we use that to segue into the next thing?
Yeah.
Xbox Dev Direct Good, more like amazing. That
Yes.
thing for me was a 10 out of 10. Sorry, I'm host now. No,
Apparently.
go Thrifty. No,
Uh,
go Thrifty. Sorry. Yeah, go.
no, you're fine. So yes, the Dev Direct was absolutely phenomenal. I am not going to take that away from them. I am not going to yuck their yum, as it were. I'm not going to do any of that because that freaking show was packed with banger after banger after potential banger after banger after banger. Like it was just one after the other. And the reason why is for 2 reasons. One, they got away and they didn't put a Avowed in there. Because if that would have been there, it would have just stunk up the entire thing. That game is targeting 32 frames per second. It's guaranteed to have 30 though, but it's targeting 32. Uh, and so they kept that off of there. And the other thing is they kind of just wore it out on their sleeve that, hey, these games are coming everywhere. Not south of midnight, but the games are coming everywhere. So
Get
here's
a
the
towel. They're coming all over the place.
uh, Deliverance 2. So you have Expedition 33, you have Ninja Gaiden 4, you have real fucking quick. Ninja Gaiden, help, please, for the love of God. Ninja Gaiden is not owned by Microsoft.
Oh yeah, the
Ninja
whole
Gaiden is owned
redefinition,
by
the
Team
redefinition of
Ninja.
a term that's used and accepted for 30 years. Let's just redefine it because we're doing a
Son of a
market shift.
bitch.
The amount of tilt that I got when I first looked at that, my eyes rolled into the back
Xbox
of my head.
invented Ninja Gaiden. What are you talking about?
It is.
These
It
these are
is
facts.
the IP is not owned by them. Team Ninja is not owned by them. They
So,
are paying to. They
Oh,
are
it's coming.
paying Team Ninja
so
to develop the game.
why this is what these people's MO is. They be as they're as disingenuous as possible, like Cole Eastwood would again.
Freaking hell.
He would be as disingenuous as possible and say no, 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 only first party matters, and first party is specifically owned studios. And then as soon as they do one and they look at their graph and they see, is it going to make us look better to say first party is this? Then they put their little fucking spreadsheets together and they show their what are they called off, and I'm just like, oh my fucking god, I just don't have
You mean
like time
like
for it. It's just
how
cringe, so cringe.
PlayStation 2024 was deemed as basically a nothing burger. They didn't have anything. They just had Astrobot, even
Yeah,
though they had a bunch of
yeah.
exclusives and a bunch of games published by PlayStation, but those weren't
Those
deemed
don't
first
matter.
party.
Those don't
Stellar
matter.
Blade being published by PlayStation, Rise of the Rona being published by PlayStation. Those aren't first party games though, right? Because they're not first party studios. But as soon as Xbox publishes a third party game, then that is first party. That's their
Yeah,
game now. They own that game. I'm just like, it's very interesting how quickly the narrative shifts in this community.
yeah,
It's
and it's
just
like the thing is like this. I swear, like this gen is like the first gen that like really defining and like wanting to clarify what's first party, what's third party. It's like that's the first gen that's really been like gone over with a fine tooth comb, and like their lists have gone together with only exclusive. Sorry, not exclusives, only first party, and it's because Microsoft's bought up so much of the fucking industry, and it's just
mhm.
like exclusives have been what mattered. Like I play on PC for games that are exclusive there, Counter Strike 2, and League of Legends and things like that. Like I don't use my PC for games that I can play on my PlayStation. And I would have an Xbox if there's games that I couldn't play on PC. And I'm not going to thank Microsoft for that because like I don't play where Microsoft tells me. I am an adult. I play where I want to play. Um,
So you're
but it's
still
just
feeding into their plan. No, I'm just
yeah.
kidding.
Well, no, I've
I'm
always
kidding.
like I was a massive World of Warcraft player. Like I played it so fucking much. Not as much as some like absolute crazies, but I've got probably almost 1,000 hours in World of Warcraft. So I've always been on PC, but it's because it was only available there, and it's just anyway. My back to Morgan, but yeah, it's just this showcase was amazing, but there's just the absolute tilt that came afterwards. It was just oh my god.
Like, and
Oh,
that's
and
the
disgusting. Yeah, go.
I was gonna
Sorry.
say, and that's the problem. Like, I've been kind of down on South of Midnight. I thought it looked real janky. I thought it looked not really well done.
How dare you?
Well, you know what? Listen, you and Nate are the only two damn reasons I even watched that freaking part of the Dev Direct. Okay,
Oh,
like
yay.
y'all two are the only two reasons. And then I found out you can actually turn off the stop motion, and I was like, bet that's so cool. Thank you. Uh,
Oh, so the
but
stop motion annoyed you enough to not want to play it? Is that I
yes,
wondered about that.
yes, it did.
Okay,
Uh,
okay. No, that's fine. Yeah, I'm not obviously it's your eyes. It's
Yeah,
not my
I'm not
eyes.
a.
So
I can't even. I'd like. I can't do it. The stop motion films and stuff, even like, I don't know, fucks up my head. Anyways, one of the things I really appreciated is that they are pulling from actual lore from that area, from the deep south, and
and yeah, that's
that's
what
freaking sick.
and that makes me excited. Like I'm a Aboriginal Australian with like there's like a book written about my family and stuff like that. Don't read it; it's boring and depressing as fuck. But like I wanted to make a game with like our culture and our lore and stuff like that. But like when I spoke to my missus and the elders, they're like they don't want any of it shared. So
Mm.
it's really depressing. So it's great. Like thinking of this, if this was my culture, I'd be fucking amazed. So I want to learn about their culture. So I'm absolutely going to play South of Midnight. And the more I hear about it, the more I want to play it.
Well, and like they're feeding off of legends, and they're feeding off of these folk tales and these like not even folk tales in some places like what it reminds me of is there was a TV show a while back, and some of y'all might be old enough to remember this, some of you might not. It was called The Originals. It was during like the whole vampire craze that was out because of the Twilight series, and then there was Vampire Diaries, The Originals. There was like a detective vampire show called like Moon something. Anyways, everything was vampires about 10 years ago. And in this show, though, it was based on the original vampires out of the French Quarter in New Orleans. And, like, there's actual folklore that ties vampires to the streets of New Orleans in the French Quarter. And so, like, if you go down there, you can actually talk to people who have the views of no, they're absolutely real. Like, that's why we hang things in our doors. That's why we like it's absolutely insane. So to actually have a game that takes that much care with a culture, even if you're glamorizing it, even if you're exaggerating it, even if you're taking it out to and you're turning it up to 11. Like the fact that you can take your time with it and still honor the source while making it a fantastical looking game with magical powers and all this other stuff, I am actually freaking excited about that. And we all know it's going to be enhanced for the PS5 Pro. Morgan, are you playing it day one? And are you playing it on Xbox or PC?
I'm absolutely playing it day one. And I'm playing. Well, I'm not technically playing it on PC, but I am streaming it on PC. I play all my Xbox games on GeForce now.
Well, look at you go.
Yeah, yeah. Ever since they decided to, put everything and share everything to all the other cloud services, I refused because I was going to get an Xbox specifically for Hellblade 2 because that was really one of my most anticipated games because I loved Hellblade 1.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
I know that
As soon as
feeling,
they
so
were
I
like,
genuinely am sorry.
for
That
our
sucks.
loss. Sorry for our loss.
Oh. Yeah, but it's like as soon as they said it was gonna be locked 30 on Xbox, I said, "Oh nah, I can't. Nah, I can't. Like, I will excuse that if I'm playing like an older PS4 or Xbox One game, but like for PS5, I cannot. Like, I cannot. So that's why I just went to GeForce Now. So it streams off of a 480. So you just basically you're streaming at PC settings. So I was playing it at 60 FPS, and I was just like, this is a much better experience. 60 FPS at 4K. I was like, yeah, I'll take this. So that's
Gotcha.
how I experience all my Xbox games. But yes, I will be playing South of Midnight day one. It's definitely been on my radar since they first showed it. I think back in, was it 2021 or was it? I don't know. Xbox had so many.
2022. Yeah,
2022.
I think.
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take your word for it because I don't remember when it was first shown. But yeah, when they first showed that trailer, I was like, you see, with Thrifty, I had the opposite effect because Thrifty said that he saw the stop motion and it was just like But see, I love stop motion games, so as soon as I saw the stop motion trailer, I was like, ooh, yes, ooh, Black Girl from the South, yes. As a Southern Black woman myself, I was just like, absolutely, I'm all for this. Now I'm not from the deep South, but I am from the South. My great aunt had a bottle tree as well that she would have in her yard for like good luck and protection and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like I was like, yeah, I can vibe with this. I can definitely vibe with this. I'm excited to see the story they tell and to see the folklore it put in in video game format. It looks like it's gonna be really good. I'm liking what I'm seeing from the traversal and the combat. I love the music that it was in like the boss fights. How it like crescendos when you get in those big boss fights. Like the boss designs themselves look amazing. I can't wait to explore that world. It just looks like it's going to be a really good time. And Hazel looks like a really interesting character, so I can't wait to see, what her story is.
Yeah, like I feel like it reminded me a lot. I know it's nothing like it really, but the game
What,
itself
Dark
reminded
Souls?
me a lot of. No,
No, no.
I didn't see any sword. I didn't see any sword.
Is he a sword?
Or bonfires. But yeah, no, it reminded me of like a Kena Bridge of Spirits style
Yeah.
game, and it's just like I love games. Like this is just sort of like a personal thing. I love games where you go in and cleanse shit.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys like. I love being that person to go in and just like help shit out and make it all clean. But I don't like games that are like cleaning a house or like Power Wash Simulator. I won't play those games.
How
It
dare
has to
you,
be in
sir.
like a. No, I'm not against those games. I'm just like
Listen,
I like
you know
being.
how
I like really
therapeutic
immersing myself.
Power wash simulator is like you having a bad day and
Uh-uh.
you're just washing a wall. It's amazing.
Nope.
Yeah. I mean, if like I get it. It's just like I like being into like a fantasy world. I love being in
I
a fantasy
definitely
world.
get that.
I feel like if I did actually play Power Wash Simulator or like Lawn Mowing Simulator, that I would just go
ASMR
full like
for the brain.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
amazing.
100%. I wouldn't be able to get off. I think off the game. So yeah,
That's crazy. So, uh, you're talking about Power Wash Simulator, and I actually tried Lawnmower Simulator, and
yep.
that freaking game,
Yes.
the sound of the lawnmower literally is the reason I couldn't play the damn game. Because it
What?
doesn't
Whoa.
change pitch. It just stays the
yeah,
freaking same.
Yeah. Yeah.
And listen, when I'm mowing and I go over a deeper spot, you get the and then it comes out.
Yeah.
And like
And then
that's
you shift the blade.
you
it
you
changes
got to
the
shift
sound.
it into
Yeah.
it and I was like, okay, I cannot do that. I
He said,
cannot
"This is
handle that
unauthentic.
sound.
I can't."
Listen, It's the sound. It's the constant. So I don't know if anybody else can like hear your ceiling fan at night, even though your ceiling fan is not making noise. But I can
Mhm.
hear that shit. And that type of like repeated noise, it's either going to be the most soothing thing to me, or it's going to be nails on a chalkboard all the
Yeah.
damn time. There is no. I'm very auditory in like things that I in things that make me react. So like I like.
It's
Go ahead.
for me, it's fine when the noise is consistent. It's when something's randomized that just triggers the shit out of me. So like, if it's like an alarm that's going off and it just like keeps going off, then yeah, sure, whatever. It'll just get drowned out. But if it's just random, then it will just yeah trigger me
Oh,
beyond.
That's why my alarms don't
Yeah.
wake me up because
that
the noise just fades into the background. I don't even notice it anymore.
my
You'd be
wife's
like, damn, I'm in a
elbow.
club. Like in your dream, you're like I'm in a club or something.
I
Like,
wake up,
yeah.
I'm like, oh shit.
About to say my
Oh
wife's
no.
elbow is usually what wakes me up because my alarms don't wake me up; they wake her up.
That's what I'm
And
saying. Yeah,
Oh god,
exactly.
she hates it
one of
Exactly.
so
those.
much.
Uh,
She hates it so much, and she's been married to me almost 14 years now. So like it's it's not changing anytime soon. Okay, so on to the next one because we do have to get through this Dev Direct. We have Claire Obscure Expedition 33. You got a release date. The collector's
Mm.
edition of that damn thing sold out. Like the physical copies. The developer came out and was like, "I'm so thankful for y'all. Like y'all are doing amazing. Thank you so much." They already sold out. We had no idea. They can't even get any more, and they're like, if we would have known. And I'm sitting here going, listen, you made a game that looks better than Final Fantasy 13 with the combat blended between 12, 10, and the newer like combat styles of mixing the action and the turn-based. Like you did everything right, and the
Yep.
hook of your fucking story is sick. Like
Mm-hmm.
these
I
folks are literally counting down to their death. Wara Wana, sorry, go ahead, man.
yeah, like on this game, like I was already so keen on this game, and then when I was watching it, I was like, I can't wait. Like this is gonna be the perfect like PlayStation
Yes.
Portal game for me. I feel like this is gonna play a great on
Oh
the
my
Portal.
god,
It's gonna look
yes.
I
gorgeous.
just hope that the I just hope that my internet doesn't like blip during like the what are they called QuickTime events during combat. But I'm sure they're not going to
Uh,
matter that much. It's probably just going to critical something. I don't know.
you can also
Either
turn them
way,
off.
yeah. Oh, can you? Oh, sweet. Okay. Well, if my internet turns to crap, then I'll do that. But they are so you can just tell how passionate they are, and I just love that. And then you know what a massive green flag was for me when I'm watching this was that the devs were talking about how they play the combat, like they're playing their own fucking game. That is underappreciated in my opinion. Like a lot of the issues with Diablo 4, Asmongold would say, was because the developers of Diablo 4 weren't playing the game themselves. Now, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying the game's trash, but some of the glaring issues were because they weren't playing it. And then when they had a thing and they showed like two art directors, which I felt bad for, not art directors, like artists, like playing the game, they weren't very good at it. And Asmon was like, "Well, I'm not attacking these directly, but it's clear that they don't play the game." But it's it was just good to see back to Expedition. Like it was just good to see that they were talking about how they all play differently and they got different play styles. So there will be choices on how to build your characters. It seems so that made me more excited as
Yeah,
well.
that skill
So
tree
yeah,
looks intensive. Like
Yeah, that
very
yeah.
skill
Oh,
tree
extensive.
about made me
Hero,
go
Hero,
no no.
I want to buy it physically. If it's a bit delayed physically, then I'll have to wait. But I heard that Australia didn't get physicals. You said so.
Oh.
I'm just excited for it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ideally, I'll
so
buy it physically.
that was one of the things that really creeped me out about when I saw the skill tree. I was like, okay, guys, listen, y'all are doing a whole lot with this. But then I started thinking, if a lot of it is just you're looking at like different setups that you can do, then obviously it's going to be like Path of Exile, right? I mentioned it in my video about Path of Exile 2. The shift that they made to make it more intuitive when you level up, like if your character isn't hitting hard enough, what you do is you probably add some to your strength. Like if you need a character to cast better magic spells, you're probably going to add to your magic ability. Like it it's very intuitive in that sense. So I'm really hoping that when we get to the 85 pages of different clicks and bobbles and choices, that those will be as intuitive because we were talking about it, and I can't remember who brought it up that they were like, I think it was a Nate actually. He said, "Who knows? He's super excited about the game, but it might have that like one glaring flaw." Like, I think that was a Nate. It was either a Nate or Josh or somebody. Like, I remember somebody saying that, and it really like made me pause for a second and go, "Okay, hang on. The game is $50. Okay, expectations are dropped now from a $70 game to a $50 game. Okay, cool. Is it gonna be a game of the year? Probably not. It probably does have some jank on it. Is it gonna be a game that's really freaking enjoyable? I absolutely think so, and I am stoked about this. Morgan, what about you?
Oh yeah, I'm absolutely excited about this. And yeah, I saw the tweet where they were thankful for everybody the collector's edition sold out, which is exclusive to PlayStation. So shout out to the PlayStation players for supporting and buying the game.
Hang on, whoa, 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 whoa,
Uh,
whoa. I didn't know that. The collector's
yeah,
edition was exclusive to PlayStation, but it's a
it's
Game Pass
exclusion
game with
exclusive
Xbox
to
marketing.
PS5. Yep, the deluxe edition as well is exclusive to PS5. The one with the steelbook that is also exclusive to PS5,
These
at least in the
dumb
United
ass
States.
ignorant fools
Yeah.
cannot do two things right in a row. I swear to goodness. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I mean, I think that's smart on Sandfall's part because the game's on Game Pass, so cater to the other side that's gonna buy the game. So
Exactly.
yeah, so the shout out to PlayStation players for supporting and buying. I definitely like maybe I would have gotten the collector's edition if I hadn't already pre-ordered. I pre-ordered the steelbook, the deluxe edition from GameStop already. That steelbook is fire. I wanted it so bad. But that collector's edition looks nice. The little statue of the time clicking down from the little mountain or whatever. But yeah, I'm so happy for them. I've been looking forward to this game ever since the announcement. I think it was like last year for this game. It looks so good. It's everything that we've all wanted from Square Enix. Like this is what we wanted Final Fantasy 16 to be, and we're having a whole other
Mm,
non-Japanese developer
damn.
give us this. Like it's just like,
Golding.
and
I
I'm
love how
just
you
like,
really feel, Morgan.
Because you're
Jesus.
not
yeah, it's just
wrong.
like it's just like Square. Are you watching, or did you see that? Or you looking
Did
at that? Because it's just like their belief in their head that in order for a game, at least in the West, to sell and be popular, it has to be more action based than turn based. And it's just like that is so not true. Like you can, like, why can't you not
Hmm.
just revolutionize the turn base and make it your own? Like you guys used to dominate, and now it's just like y'all like you're scared of
Mm-hmm.
turn base now, you know. And so looking at this game, it looks like a breath of fresh air. I love the art style, the kind of gothic kind of look it has to it. The way the camera kind of zooms in and out during combat looks so clean, so slick. Like the pixels, the density of everything. We got with the dev direct in particular, we got the deep dive into like the characters and their backstory, and then the characters that we'll meet. The overlay map looks insane. I was like, I love that map. I'm excited. I'm so excited for this game. It looks fantastic, and I love seeing devs that are truly passionate about their game. You could tell this is. I mean, they went over their background about how one friend went to another friend and then another friend about them growing up with turn-based JRPGs and them wanting to make their own turn-based kind of JRPG game, and the passion they put behind this, you can just see it on the screen, and the way they talk about it, the way you can tell that they love this project, and that this is them giving their all. This is their love letter to the early PS1 PS2 days. And I'm just like, yes, this is what we needed. And I'm so happy that this game is coming out so soon. We all knew it was going to be, I mean, they said spring 2025. So I'm just happy. I'm ecstatic. It's April, right around the corner. I just wish them the best. I hope it, succeeds for them. I hope it does really well. I think it will do really well. And hopefully it'll have legs. And, this will be the game that kind of, catapults them and their studio so they can continue making games like this. It's funny because I was watching the trailer and the background of everything, and I'm just like, I love it because the main character is also the same age as me, 32. It's his last year before the clock winds down and he dies. So I'm over here looking at it like, ooh,
Fucking hell.
I'd be on this adventure like, man, we got to stop this because I'm gonna die next year.
32 going on
Me.
62. Yeah,
It's gonna be me. Like, so I'm like, I can relate. Yes, we need to stop the switch because I'm not going out like this. Like, we gotta do something, you know? Like, so it was very cool seeing that they point out his age. I was like, oh yeah, I can, very relatable. But yeah, everything looks cool. The little giant balloon character, I can't really remember his name or whatever. Like, the side characters that you meet looked really interesting, and then that little side area that's really colorful is, I think that's a great contrast to the tone of the game, because the tone is more dark grayish, greenish kind of colors, and then you go to this one area and there's just like color everywhere. I think that does a great job at contrasting, the tone that they have for this game. So it just, from everything that they're saying and speaking about the game, even the lady that was speaking on the team, I think she was the narrative lead. Her talking about the story and what kind of story they wanted to have for this game, and how they wanted it to be more of a it's not just black and white, good versus evil. Everybody has their own story and their own reasons for this trip, right? They're not all going for the same reason. They're not all stopping the witch for the same reason, right? And I was like, yeah, I love that. Everybody has their own reasons for doing things and their own plans, and I want to figure out, who's in it to really stop it, or who's in it for other. I really want to figure out what these characters' reasons are. So I'm excited to get into the game. I can't wait. As soon as that thing goes live, I'm booting it up, and I will definitely be trying to go for the plat. So yeah, this is one of my most anticipated games this year. So I can't wait.
It's definitely, ever since I saw it and I was like, man, the combat, the presentation, everything about the game looks so good.
So
And
good.
the hit numbers, I was like, oh, that's kind of jank. But now that I see them, I'm like, I can't wait to put a big fucking number on the screen. I just can't wait put a big number on screen. Like, it is the
See a big
game.
69 on the screen. Like, okay,
Just,
stop the count. That's it.
dude,
I'm done.
I don't want to deal any more damage. We've done enough. It's fine. Like, my like reptilian brain just sees the big number and goes, yeah, okay, thank you. Just hit again. Like, that's all I want to do. Like, caveman in me goes, yes, let me make a big number. But, like, I started seeing that, and then I started seeing the combat and the way everything looked, and it's freaking awesome. Now, I kind of glazed over Ninja Gaiden 4. And the reason why is because I absolutely am dog shit at Ninja Gaiden games. And so I fully respect the IP. I played it way back in the day when it was on a controller that only had two damn buttons on it. Four actually. Uh, so like I've been with the series. I know it. I like it, but I absolutely suck at it. Wara, this seems like it's more of a game in your alley. Are you excited about Ninja Gaiden?
I'm excited to try it, but I don't know if I'll like it. Like, it's more of an action game akin to Devil May Cry, apparently, than than it is to like a Souls game. It is meant to be super difficult and things like that. Like, the people are theorizing that it might not be as hard because it's by a different studio, as well. But yeah, I'm excited that a good IP is coming back, and Microsoft has paid to bring it back, and that's given me hope for the future of Xbox, because previously we haven't really seen them bring
Because
back
they
old
actually
stuff.
care enough to invest in
Yeah,
something?
yeah. So did you notice how the Xbox trailer for number two was edited versus the PlayStation one? Did you notice that?
Mm-mm.
So it's like 2 seconds or 3 seconds of change where they just, for the Ninja Gaiden 2 Black Edition, they just cut out like the bits when they showed the female characters, and it was just weird. Because I just sent them both with no context to my partner, and I said to her, I said, minus the PlayStation and Xbox logos, can you tell me the difference between these two trailers? And then she came in and she's like, why did PlayStation's edit look so bad? And it's funny because while I don't really care for either. Like, I don't care about whether they've got the females in it or not. It's weird that the PlayStation one's got extra like cuts in it, and it just makes the trailer more messy. But at the
Mm.
same time, people are saying that the Xbox One has been censored because they've cut out the women in it. So it was just weird. Yeah.
So both sides are making up some bullshit.
Yeah, it's weird. Like my missus took it as though because like she goes, "What
Uh,
did the original trailer look like?" I said, "I don't know." But it's an Xbox. Like they were the ones who funded it, so PlayStation didn't like make their own trailer. They just must have cut something out of the Xbox One. It's just weird. But when she
that's
said that, I did agree that there's just more like because it's lots of short clips like in it as
that's weird.
yeah. Anyway, I was just
Well,
wondering if you know
here's the deal.
what I
If
mean.
it's more action based, then
Yeah,
I actually might be interested in playing it. Like, because the the difficulty part of it was always what stopped me. And even on the side scrollers, those things I never made it past the second level because they were a bitch. They sucked.
yeah, okay.
And so like I liked them, and Ninja Gaiden was always the thing I wanted to play and be good at, but it didn't ever work out. Morgan, what about you? This is Ninja Gaiden 4. Are you excited about it? Not excited about it? What do you think?
Yeah, Ninja Gaiden was the first game they showed at the direct. It was very interesting because at the end of the trailer, I think that was the first time we saw at an Xbox showcase they actually recognized a multiplat, as in they said it
Yeah,
was coming to PS5, and I was like, oh, that's interesting, that's different. They
that's a
actually
new change. Yeah,
saying it. Oh, we're just going full throttle into being multiplat. Okay, cool.
the industry's
Um,
changing, Morgan.
yeah, the whole industry. It's not just Xbox. Everybody's changing
The
right now.
Industry, if you
whole
spell it
industry.
MIs. Yeah.
Exactly. But me in particular, when it comes to Ninja Gaiden, I never played it growing up. I used to watch my friends, but it was just never my jam. I'm not really interested in playing it. It's just something that just not for me. And I have my schedule this year is already too tight to be trying to add something else into it. Um, but I'm happy for all the OG Ninja Gaiden fans who've been asking for this, and then of course, you had the Shadow Drop at the direct, and then obviously Ninja Gaiden 4 is coming out later the year. I'm so happy for people who wanted the game and wanted to see it
100%.
flourish and,
Yeah.
and come back. It's always good when like an old IP that you really love that kind
Mm.
of got shelved comes back to resurgence. You're like, oh hell yeah, good times, good memories come back. But it's weird because although I'm not interested in Ninja Gaiden, I am interested in Phantom Blade, which kind of
Mm.
is inspired by Ninja Gaiden. So it's like, is that the pony in me? Is that what's going on over here, Morgan? It's just because it got the Xbox logo on it that you're just hating on Ninja Gaiden right now. And I honestly can't answer that question for you. Like I don't know. I don't think that's what it is. I just when I see Phantom Blade, it's just like, oh yeah, that looks freaking amazing. Maybe because it's more of the art style that I like, the more kind of realistic, less arcadey looking art style. Like nothing wrong with that because I love every art style, but when it comes to fighting games, I really like that particular art style or more actiony, hack and slashy type games. But it's just I'm not interested. I really didn't care for that portion of the direct. I was just like, okay, cool, nice little surprise for the OG fans, but it being in there didn't deteriorate or make me not like the show. Like the show overall, I gave it like a strong 8 just because I didn't really care for Ninja Gaiden. And don't hate me. I know you're gonna hate me in the chat, but I don't really care for Doom. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know
Oh,
Doom
damn.
is beloved by everybody, and it's not because I think Doom is bad. It's just Doom is just not my type of game. So I just
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
really care. So I was like, don't hate me. I swear I'm not hating on Doom. So that trailer for Doom was immaculate. It was well done. It was well explained.
Mm.
Everything that you could do in it looked really cool. It's just Doom's not for me. So I was just like, okay, cool. But it was a cool way to end
Yeah.
the show. But
Yeah.
Yeah. More gamers
yeah,
need to be like that, where they're like they
yeah,
acknowledge the difference between bad game and I just don't I'm not have
yeah.
no
I
interest.
hate
Yeah,
that so
100%.
much when
Yeah, it
people
does
do
my
that because they're like,
fucking head
oh,
in. Yeah.
that game's terrible. I'm like, have you played it? No. I'm like, well, then how
Then,
do you know it's
then
terrible? It's because you
shut
say
the
a
hell
game's
up.
not for you.
Yeah.
Like, and that's perfectly fine because like every genre and every game is not for everybody. That's why there's
Right,
so
and
many
like
different types
just
of
because
games.
we don't like just because I'm not a fan of a certain game, right? Elden Ring. We'll just take Elden Ring. I
Hmm.
played about 15 hours of it, maybe 20, maybe.
Okay.
I got past Margit the Feld, uh, and got to these two little gremlin twins in a cave off by the corner, and they kept killing me, and I didn't want to continue because I didn't.
Oh, the little
That
golem boys with the axes, the little like angled swords.
Yeah, there's in a little cave down off the beach area. Uh,
Yeah.
and so I go in there and I get my ass kicked repeatedly. I'm like, no, I can figure this out. I beat Margit. I can figure it out. So I beat Margit in under 3 minutes. I was so proud of myself. I
Good.
did that and I was like, I can figure this out. But then I couldn't. And I stopped playing and I won't ever go back. I don't want to touch that series again. I might play Night Rain if the combat's easier. But like I am not going to look at Elden Ring and go, that game fucking sucked. Like, because that is just disingenuous. That's kind of the word of the night, that and firm. But disingenuous of me to say that because it's it's just because it's not a game for me. So like Ninja Gaiden, I can see that and go, damn, that calls back to when gaming first started. On the regular Nintendo, Tecmo produced a game called Ninja Gaiden. And now it's coming back so many years later, and Xbox
It's
got
coming.
the right, and Xbox
It's
got the
coming.
marketing for
I
it
knew it.
because they're freaking paying for it. So like I'm it was a big deal. I can see why they did it and how it's a big deal and why it elevated for me the showcase or the Dev Direct. Because even though I won't play it, and even though like if I did, it would infuriate the shit out of me. Just Xbox being able to get that piece of gaming history and that IP, like it's a big swing. Like Xbox for what Xbox can do right now with the size that they are, that is a massive ass swing. And even Phil Spencer in the interview that we are going to be covering here in just a few minutes talks about how this was a 7 year process. Like, and the first couple years were just meetings and back and forth and trips and hangouts and just getting to know the guys at Platinum and the guys at Koei Tecmo. And like, it's the one part of the interview I'm like, damn, you did a good job with this. Why have you fucked up everywhere else? But you did a good job with this.
Because they were hands off, probably.
It because somebody else was making it.
And it was a secret thing. It's like what ruins the. It's almost as though what ruins their fucking games is the Xbox podcast. It's like they hype them into absolute oblivion, into the absolute stratosphere where they can never possibly reach those levels. And then bam, they release and they're underwhelming and everyone's sad and hate and piles on, right? I want to point out that none of those fucking insiders said that Ninja Gaiden was going to be at this fucking showcase. I just want to point that out because they are always saying that they have all the inside info, and yet I
I
didn't see
called
one
it. I
motherfucker
called
say.
it. I called it.
Yeah, no one said like they had like all these different names. I heard Oblivion remake 16 times and all the rest, and it's just like it was good that people could actually theorize because I think theorizing is healthy and you can say all this, that, and the other, but people who come out and just like here's the whole show. And then we all not whinge, but we all say like, oh, it was underwhelming. It's like, yeah, because we were told 3 weeks ago what was going to be there, and the reveals weren't reveals. This Ninja Gaiden reveal was so good to me because I didn't see it coming. Pause.
Yeah.
So, yeah, yeah. I love the reveal, and I know, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, people are going to be fucking frothing this. So I was excited for them, even though I'm not like a big fan of the IP. So and then Doom. I'm sort of like Morgan with when I saw Doom Eternal, and I didn't really like Doom 2016. I was like, oh, whatever. Like I played the originals years ago when I was a kid, but the newer ones I hadn't really cared about. I haven't even tried Doom Eternal. It just doesn't interest me. Just too much going on. But this one, I was like, holy shit, that shield, and I was like sold. And then all the difficulty settings, I'm just like, that's so good. Like I don't know whether it's like difficulty setting overload, but the option to like change all the parry timings and everything like that seems amazing.
Yeah,
So
because you
it's
know who's
really
finally
accessible.
going to play a Doom game and actually not feel like I suck at life? Me.
Yeah,
I'm
and
excited to play this.
I wonder whether it's sort of like a scope decrease because of Game Pass. And that was the question I was going to bring to you too about Doom, because like
I think that's why they
they're
cut
bringing out
multiplayer.
details and people, yeah, and then I feel like that's a case of they want to keep budgets down for Game Pass. And I'm not going to say that's bad because not every game needs multiplayer, not every game needs to be bloated. So I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing, but I just thought I'd bring up a conversation about it.
Yeah, the so I saw Doom and pretty much like Morgan, I was like, Doom's not for me, blah blah blah, move on, whatever. And then some more information came out, and they were like, "There's difficulty sliders, and there's a lot of them." And I was like, "Oh, wait, wait, are are you about to Stellar Blade my ass and let me have a difficulty setting, even though I beat that game on normal? Thank you." Like, is that what you're gonna do? I had to play the first or the like the second chapter on easy, but after that I forced myself to to go back to normal. But like as soon as I heard about difficulty sliders, I was right there because Doom Eternal is fun as hell. It is absolute chaotic mayhem, and I can't get out of the second section of the first level. So like it's just there's there's definitely a skill gap. I suck at video games that make you be good. I do not suck at video games that allow you to use strategy to overcome your failures, like RPGs. A lot of times in RPGs, you can adjust your strategy, and like it's a minor tweak here, minor tweak there, and you can go and take care of it. In Doom, it's okay, a major tweak there, you suck ass, go faster over here, dodge there, go underneath, and then come around, and then you can kill it. Like I'm not, it's just not me. But like I am actually really, really excited, and I know y'all mentioned it in the chat down. Oh, I'm sorry. They were saying that Hero said that Doom wasn't for him, but Hero, I know you play on easy mode like I do a lot of times. I know for a fact because we talked about that. I think you should give it a shot. Anyways, guys, we are. Does anybody have anything to say about what we've discussed up to this point? No? All right. We are going to
No.
move on because we have a. Yeah, we're not getting done on time. If any of the panel members need to leave, y'all
I
are
need
more than welcome.
I need to leave in 15 minutes.
In 15 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. My kids don't know
So,
how to walk home yet there. Tell me.
I wouldn't let them walk home in Australia. They'll get picked up by a spider. That's not. That doesn't work.
Oh man.
They're probably so hot they'll probably melt on the way home.
That's so. Oh,
Anyway.
that's right. I forget it's still so. Okay, so we're gonna start with the Paris interview, and then because there's less ridiculousness in the Paris interview than there is in the Destin interview. Like the Destin interview is like a full 20-minute section that I could just press play and we could all have popcorn and laugh our ass off. But I am not gonna do that. Uh, we are gonna cover this Paris interview, and I already have it queued up. If y'all could hit that like button, share this out. This is the part of the show that everybody's here for, anyways. And let's get started. So here's this guy. His name is Paris, I think.
I have to stick with community, and I have.
And for those in the Discord, I do apologize. I still don't know how to filter this sound back to y'all. So
I'll
uh,
turn the stream on and mute
yes.
my mic.
So here we go. This is the
Stick to
interview.
listening to the community, and I have to
Uh
ask
huh.
this because if I don't, people will kill me. So, a year ago, you and I want to talk about this is an Xbox, this new marketing thing that you have, but I want to put it in this context. So, a year ago, you had the business update. And you talked about the 4 games and putting that out there and learning from it. So obviously, you've definitely learned something because we're now seeing things like Indiana Jones going to PlayStation 5. We're seeing, Doom the Dark Ages, obviously day and date on PS5 as examples, right? But you've also talked over the past year or so about more open platforms as an example. Obviously, no red lines with some of your portfolio, things like that. And I'm leading that into this is an Xbox. In your interpretation, so it's coming from your.
By the way, there are more qualifying statements in this damn thing than I have ever seen. This clip starts at 8:05. It is 1 minute long of a damn question. Anyways, sorry. When you're interviewing somebody, you don't need to make your questions a minute long. It's frustrating and annoying. Don't do that.
Words, what does that mean now for Xbox as you head into the future?
Oh, capitalism done kicked my ass. Give me a sec. We are currently in the middle of an Acura commercial. Here we
I
go.
want people to be able to experience the games that we build, the services that we offer on as many devices as we can. Obviously, some of the devices out there, some of the platforms are closed. They don't allow everything that we do to show up on those platforms.
PlayStation and Nintendo do not allow Game Pass on their platform. I will be the translator for this. If anybody is confused, the other platforms are PlayStation and Nintendo, and the service is Game Pass. So there we go. Let's continue.
The thing that I've learned and continue to learn when I'm listening to creators, not only our own studios, but other teams building games, is every creator out there wants to build a game that can find as many players as they want. And frankly, there aren't many platforms out there that try.
No shit, guys. I've listened to this like 5 times, and every time he gets to that where he says no, there's no platform, I always think when he talks about them trying to find all the players, I'm so ready for him to say, and there's no players on Xbox. Like, it's like every time I'm like, are you about to say there's no players on Xbox? And so, oh, hang on. It keeps trying to tell me my websites aren't
To
loading.
build connections to people on so many different screens. It's almost like single platform, single device, single game. And that's kind of the history of our business on many different screens. Now, not every experience will be the same. We obviously love the native experience we have on our own platform and our own hardware. And that's something that will continue for us. But like, we're not going to put walls up around where people can engage with the great games, whether it's on PC, whether it's on handheld PCs, whether it's on phones. I want everybody to be able to play on Xbox. And it does mean more of our games.
Handhelds, handheld PCs, and phones. Words are important. There was a certain thing not mentioned there. Platform was mentioned. Console, not mentioned. So that's my first question, and that would have been the redirect that said, "Hey guys, so you didn't really mention console there." So let's continue a little bit, and then we'll get to the question. I have a certain spot I really want to get to real quick in this interview.
Shipping on more platforms, not just PlayStation. We love the work that we do with Nintendo. We love what we do with Valve on Steam. And that's going to continue. We'll just continue to do more of it because what we learn is put the games first. Make sure the games can be as great as they can. We love the experience on our own hardware, our own platform, but our games will show up in more and more places, no doubt.
Okay, so Paris basically asked, "Hey, listen, we're tired of seeing these games go. The community wants to know, are these games going to be going everywhere?" And he spent about 1 minute, 1.5 minutes explaining all of that, filling all of that fluff with yes. This is how you know somebody is not, they don't think they're making the right decision. The longer the explanation is, generally, the more they're either trying to convince you or trying to convince themselves, or both. It's called self-justification. Whenever we make a bad decision or we know we shouldn't be doing something, we as people always try to justify it, whether that's through we don't call that one friend who we know is going to say it's a bad idea, we call the one who we know is going to say it's a good idea. This is this is like what he's doing when going to these interviews, because as he's talking about handhelds and stuff, every single one of these guys is like shaking their head like a little bobblehead doll. And but asking the question, are games going everywhere? The answer that they're giving, or that he is giving, is that yes, they are going everywhere. Now, because he says platform though, this is one of those sections where I'm like, okay, where's the console going? Why are you just saying platform? Now, in the Destin interview, he does say console. He doesn't just say platform. But in this one, it's all about the platform. It's all about making sure our games are available on all platforms. It's all about what the other platforms won't let ours do. because the industry is changing and there's things. And so, Morgan, so far with this section, actually, Wara, I know you have to go in 8 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
So with this section of the interview, you're just coming in on the first part. What do you think about this section, about this response? Like, is there any way that, unless somebody's just being asinine, is there any way that this can be spun as a good thing for the Xbox console? Not Xbox Studios, the Xbox console.
So the short answer to that is no. But I do have 2 points to make about it, about what you said as well. I'll push back a little bit on what you said. But I think what they're trying to do is they're trying so fucking hard to redefine what Xbox means as a platform. They are trying to make it so that when you play an Xbox-owned game on PlayStation, that you're playing on the Xbox platform. That's my belief of what they're trying to do, and I think it's fucking lunacy. But they're allowed to do whatever they want. Whether the people agree to it and accept it, time will tell. I don't think I'd accept it, because when I play an EA game like Jedi Survivor, I don't sit there and go, I'm playing on the EA platform. I don't do that because I'm not a fucking psychopath. Now, the other thing I want to push back on is I don't think Phil's long answer has anything to do with him not believing his push. I believe part of the reason why he is saying such a long answer is to give a word soup, to make it harder to break down, harder to simply for people to, like Lono, for example, to say he said one thing in that 1 minute and the rest is just muddying the waters. Let's use the CFO talking at the world's that Fargo summit thing where he said about we're going to be going to places other than Xbox, basically, to spread our games. And everyone's like, oh, he only meant ABK, he only meant ABK. Because people find it hard to understand longer sentences. And I'm not talking down to anyone. I'm not saying anyone can't comprehend English, nothing like that. It's just about, it's intentionally long to make it harder to just represent exactly what he's saying in a more like understanding way. Because what they're doing is very simple. They're going third party, and they're not doing it all in a week, because if you do that, then your financial reports don't look so great, because you have all your games in one quarter going to all other platforms. You have a massive rise of income and revenue, and then the next quarter, like a whole year later, you don't have that anymore, and it goes down. And people who are just like looking to buy shares see that it's down, and they might just go not look into it and go, nah, that's not good. So every step they make needs to be worrying about shares and share price and fucking financial reports, and that isn't good for gamers, and gamers don't need to care about that shit. But I just wanted to push back because I believe that Phil's answer wasn't long simply because he didn't believe it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you're wrong either. I'm just saying that was my take, that he always has these long answers. It's never a direct answer. It's always a long answer. Like, let's use the example of the Avowed lady trying to correct what the art director or whoever he was said about Avowed. No, the target, and this took her a minute to say, the target isn't 30. We'll definitely hit 30. And then she spoke for another minute, basically, talking about how it will be over it. And it's like, you don't need to speak so long. But she was saying it to be like, we're going to have visuals and blah, 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 and all the rest, adding more context to it. But in reality, you can break it down quite simply to her saying, yes, 30 frames per second is what we will be running at. And that's just all there is to it. Because gamers only care about 30 and 60. And there's obviously 40 FPS, 120 hertz modes. Yeah, sure, whatever. But and VRR modes. But the gamers really just care about 30 and 60. And like I said in Discord today, 30 FPS, you're going to see a lot of Xbox games launch at 30 that are only on Xbox because of xCloud. And xCloud only streams at 30 FPS, so they care more about the visuals. And then the patch they do later, they probably don't patch on xCloud. They probably leave the 60 FPS patch only for your consoles. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, Morgan, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Phil will make a wonderful politician.
Yeah, that's it. If you wanted to get paid less money.
Oh yeah, you'll ask him a question
Or
and
more.
he'll almost make you forget what you asked. By the time he finishes answering it. But I mean, that's what they teach you in business school and in speech. You're supposed to start off with the positive, and if you know the answer isn't going to be positive, you have to associate it with something positive and end the answer with something positive, like, oh, this might not be great, but we have this initiative going on. That's what you're supposed to do. And that's what Phil does a lot. He's fully aware that this decision, multiplat, is not exactly exciting when it comes to, for at least for the hardcore Xbox community, but this is the decision that they've made. This is a decision that is going to be their definitive path going forward, especially after these financial breakdowns came out and we see who the major spender is for Xbox, and we see a lot of negative numbers and everything like that. Yeah, they are. And I just find it always funny how it's always seen as, we did this for gamers, we did this for the developers, we did this for, like, no, the reason you took this path is because you had to. Like,
it's for money.
We're not going to spin it like this. We made this decision out of the love for the games, out of the love for the community. We did it for you guys. Like, listen, I'm not saying that there aren't any pro consumer benefits to the path that they've decided to take, but to say that the reasoning that you did it was for the consumers, for the developers, because we wanted to put everything everywhere, because that's what developers want, that's what creators want. No. Because if that didn't make you money, or if that wasn't a path that looked like it could make you money, it would not be a path that they would take. Okay, they had to take this path out of desperation because PlayStation kicked their butt to oblivion in the PS4 and Xbox One era so bad that they had to, as we all know, like, essentially choose a path or die. Essentially choose a different path or die. That was it. Xbox was going to go downhill. Xbox was going to be wiped away from the Microsoft department, and they had to make a decision, right? And because Microsoft is a software company that loves subscriptions, that is what they put onto gaming. But this, answer, like, I'm sure, because if I was Phil, I would be tired of people asking me that same question over and over again. Like, where's the red line? Are you going to have any more multiplats? Or any games going to be exclusive? What's this? Like, he gets asked that question literally every interview. And I mean, he's better than me, because by the time the fourth person asked it, I would have flipped my laptop and been like, bro, ask me that question one more time. Ask me that question one more time, bro. Like, and so I'm guessing the reason he kind of elongates his speech and his answers is because he's trying to, I guess, find the right answer that'll satisfy people to get to the point where they'll stop asking him. Like, so he's just like, all right, okay, I guess I'll spin it this way today, so maybe this will be more definitive, and people in the next interview, the next interviewer won't ask me that same question. He's just trying to find some kind of ground where people will just accept the fate of Xbox and move on. But, as we've seen with the interview, the next interview, the same kind of questions get asked to him again. And he's just like, yeah. I mean, it even got to the point where I'm not going to, let me not, because you're going to talk about the next one. But
one of the things that we're going to, the next question that Paris asked is, it's this right here.
Talked about the handheld.
Sorry,
that is
Grad Thrifty, I got to go. But if you guys are still on in half an hour, I'll be back.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Great to speak to everyone.
We'll probably be here.
See you, chat. Yeah. All right, good. All right, speak to you after. Cheers, guys. Bye.
Wara, thanks, man. We'll see you soon. So the next question is basically, it's this right here. And it's funny that Wara said they want the money first, or they did it for money, because at 11 minutes and 36 seconds on this video, I just wrote as the tag for my clip, it's money first. So listen to this. Maybe if I can press play.
So eventually you're going to do something like that. But there is concern in the community about, well, you're putting all these games on these other platforms. Why would I still want an Xbox? What is going to be the reason for me to want Xbox hardware when I can get that experience on another platform?
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, I actually really appreciate this question. I appreciate this question a lot because it's... I love how he said the community is asking. He's doing the bullshit that Microsoft is doing, where they're talking about the industry as a whole, but it only applies to them. Like, this dude has to be sitting there going, all right, listen, I've given my life to this thing. what's to keep me here, dude? Because right now like there's all this. I need to know what's keeping me here. So let's see what Phil's answer is.
I want people to pick hardware based on the capabilities of that hardware and how that fits into the choices they want to make about where they want to play. And we want our hardware to win based on the hardware capabilities that we have. I think the difference that we've seen in the last 20 years, and I think this is good because I come from building games, it's really game first, not platform first. Most of the games you and I will talk about run across so many different platforms. And those are the games that are having success. Those are the games that are at the top of the charts when you look at the most.
It's only games first because it's actually money first. Does that make sense? Like, it's only games first. He only said we're going to do games first and not platform because they are failing at putting their platform first. And they failed. Wara did a voice recording in the Discord earlier. And one of the things that he said was that they failed in the Xbox One generation so miserably that this is kind of just the logical outplaying of what happened. And now they're in a position where they have to. There is no other way to spin it. They absolutely have to. They have to go game first. They have to get their software out because great, you have a console. If you don't have games, if you don't have players, if you don't have anything like that, you're not going to. It's always been said that you lose a little bit of money on the console and you make it back on the software. That's how it's always been. That's how it's going to continue to be. The only place that that's not true is on PC. Because PC, if you want the best of the best, you're spending 5 to 10 grand to get it. So they're not they're not going to worry about making up their money on you on the back end on sales of software to you or video games to you or whatnot. Like, that's not how that works. That only happens in the console world. But let's continue.
Most played, most successful games. And I want to build a platform that services those creators that are trying to meet people on every screen. But let's say, like our own hardware, I think it's fundamental to what Xbox is. It's not lost on me. I've said over and over that box is in the name of our brand. I'll say is in the position I'm in, I look at hardware as a critical part of what we do, but not trying to gatekeep the games off of other places for the benefit of it. Let's go build innovative hardware that people want to use to play, whether that's in their hands, whether it's on their television, or even other places. And I love our hardware team and spent some time with them just this week and the roadmap that they have. And I think we're learning a lot from this, like Steam Deck and what does it mean for our games to be there, ROG Ally, what does it mean, Lenovo, what does Xbox mean on those platforms? I don't think we've tuned it perfectly yet, and it's spent a lot of time with the teams on that.
They don't think they've tuned it perfectly. You don't say. You're trying to build a platform that people want to come to. Why do they want to come to your platform? What do you have that others don't? Well, back in the day, that used to be video games. But if your games are going everywhere and everywhere has a handheld, repeat after me. There's 37,000 of them bastards on PC. Like, and I'm not talking about like the name brand ones. I'm talking about like the Wish.com version ones. Like, you can grab a handheld for dirt cheap, and it'll play a few of them. It'll play a couple games, or you can go really high end. There's so many different handhelds for PC. PlayStation has a handheld. PlayStation has a very stable cloud network that can play over 200 games via the cloud on their handheld.
PS Cloud is better than X Cloud, just so you know that's a fact.
God. I've never used xCloud, and I know that. Like, because I have used cloud before, like the old PS Now. It couldn't play certain games. At least couldn't play them well back on my old internet. So I've tried to use cloud before back when it sucked. It doesn't suck anymore. Cloud's actually really, really good, at least on the PlayStation side. But like Nintendo, hello, they have a really, really awesome handheld. It's called the Switch. Like, how are you going to come in And let's be honest, I asked a buddy of mine this the other day. I said, hey, listen, you're a Nintendo guy, right? He goes, heck yeah, I am. I said, you have Mario Kart, Mario, you played all the new Zeldas, you always get all the new Pokemon games that come out. I was like, you're a Nintendo guy. He goes, don't forget Metroid. I said, okay, thank you. Yes, prove my point even further. Fine. And I was talking to him and I was like, so if Breath of the Wild was released on PS5 Pro, and the PS5 Pro version ran at an upscaled 4K with ray tracing enabled, ambient occlusion, all the shadows, 60 FPS locked, and it did all of that. I was like, would you play it on Nintendo? He goes, hell no, dude. I'd be first in line to buy a Pro. So I could play all these Nintendo games on the Pro. I was like, okay. So what you're saying is the exclusives are what keep you on the Nintendo platform. He goes, well, yeah. Okay. So here's the deal. That is my buddy who owns a coffee shop in my town. And like he is a casual gamer through and through. And even he can deduce that, hey, we need exclusives to sell our shit. There's certain drinks that you can only get at his coffee shop. The other coffee shops in town don't make them. And if they do, they don't taste just like his. Exclusives matter in every form of business. And this dude coming on here and looking at Paris and going, yeah, we just want to put our games everywhere. We want to have our games available on every platform. These other platform holders make it a little difficult. We can't put everything we want on there. But yeah, no, we want everything. But also, we're focusing on the future. We're going to be innovative. We're going to be in the hardware space. We're going to... For what? You don't do anything in the hardware space better than anybody else. Morgan, what do you think about this? The Destin interview is where we go next, but what do you think about this?
I think it's very interesting that he wants hardware to be the primary factor for where you choose to play. If that were the case, everybody would just get a PC. Like, if we want the best of the best and the best specs and everything like that. What's always defined every console for every generation was the games. Like, it was the Sega versus Nintendo, Sonic versus Mario, it's always been about the IPs that a console was to carry, and whoever had the best was the one that was the leading platform. That's always how it's been. And him wanting to be like, well, it should be about like the hardware and the features that it offers. And I'm just like, I'm gonna be honest, like most of like the features and the hardware differences, especially this particular generation, there's not a lot of discerning factor. Like, oh man, the Series X has like a 2% better 4K than the PS5, or oh, this other game is 57 FPS on Xbox and it's a lock 60 on PS5. Like, these are minor differences that the majority of casual players, even hardcore players, are not going to notice. So I don't get this idea of hardware differences that he's talking about, unless they make this, what everybody's been saying, this new Xbox console is supposed to be an Xbox PC hybrid, which I still don't understand how that's going to work, but that's what the rumor is. Is that going to be the factor that's going to separate it from PlayStation? I mean, I'd hope that they do something bold and big, because if it's just another plain, upgraded Series X, I don't. You think the sales are bad now? It's going to be even worse next generation if that's all they have to offer, from versus a PS6, right? So again, this whole line that he's feeding people is all just to, reiterate and essentially put a positive spin on this direction that they're taking, right? That multi-platform is good, and us putting our games everywhere is for the best for everyone. It's best for Xbox. This is how we grow. This is how we make, this is how we are able to make more games and blah 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 blah. And like I said, looking at the financials, yes, you were right. This seems like it's the only direction you guys can take, because PlayStation is essentially funding Xbox at this point, like 67% of Xbox games for the quarter were purchased on PlayStation. That's insane.
Oh yeah, I actually have that. Give me just a sec.
Yeah.
Sorry about the music. I was trying to put some background music on here, and I forgot to turn it on at the beginning of the stream. And then I realized that it doesn't really fit the conversation. So like, that just doesn't sound right. Let me pull this up real quick because I do have that because that is a big part of this. Here it is right here. This is from J-Dub. He made the Pac-Man graph, or somebody did, where it showed 64% of PlayStation, 36% Xbox PC, December 2024 consumer spending, Microsoft published games. They were the number one publisher. Number one in the world. Number one publisher in the world. And it was because PlayStation gamers came out and bought their shit.
But I mean, I heard PlayStation players don't buy games though.
Listen. I need to look every damn one of y'all motherfuckers in the face. Every single one of y'all. If you really want Xbox to die, okay? Hear me out. If you really, really, really want the console to die, you gotta stop playing Captain Save-A-Ho. You have to. You have to. Just because a game comes to our console and you're so used to it, and God love you for it. When a game comes to the console and the first thing you do is go, ooh, new game, gotta buy. Like, it's something in us, and I get it. I almost bought Hi-Fi Rush. I get it. I understand. But golly, you do realize that we could end this whole bullshit if for the next 12 months, PlayStation gamers didn't buy a damn Xbox game.
Listen, you're not pulling PlayStation gamers off COD, man. It's like that relationship is just too strong.
So even with COD though, even with COD, their content revenue, Xbox content and services grew 2%. 2. Even with COD.
Yeah. And they said most of their
shit
growth as far as Game Pass was on PC.
That's absolutely insane. Xbox hardware down 29%, gaming revenue down 7%.
That's the number that really surprised me. I expected it to be higher with the release of like COD and Indiana Jones. I was like, I mean, I expected, obviously, we all expected the console hardware sales to be down, but I expected the gaming revenue to at least be up by 1 or 2%.
Well, so dropping 47% or whatever the hell that astronomical number was last year, I didn't expect Xbox hardware to be down an additional 29%. Like, especially since they did, for all intents and purposes, they did sell a million or almost a million consoles during the month of December, or during the month of November. So let's not. Ponies didn't buy enough Xbox games. No shit. No shit. That's funny. But like, this is crazy. So when you hear him talking, and when, like Wara said, it looks like he's actually bought in. Maybe. I'm still used to him and Satya and Tim Stewart kind of going back and forth in like a roundabout who's going to catch the weasel type deal. Like, because they were, one said one thing, one said the other had to come out and clarify, then it got back around, and then the circle jerk happened all over again. Like, this is the stuff that makes me feel like whenever he gives a long answer that he's just lying his ass off. Or going the corporate route and like just trying to, hey, this is what I have to say, these are the talking points, I'm supposed to give you this whole long answer. Like, just because he does, I still don't know or think that he fully agrees with it going multiplat, because whether you like the guy or hate the guy, he has been in the Xbox gaming community for a long ass time. If you think that Phil Spencer doesn't understand the importance of exclusives, you are absolutely dead wrong. But
yeah, I agree. I don't think this multi-platform plan was his idea. I don't think he necessarily agrees with it. I mean, he probably seen the numbers and he sees that, okay, this is something we have to do, but I don't think it's necessarily something he wants to do. I feel like if it was an even playing field, or if Xbox wasn't down so bad, I think he would have definitely fought for more exclusives on the Xbox platform.
That's where it is. I think it's like, I will do that. I don't agree with it, but I know it's what we need to do. He's literally in that position, and you can see it in his mannerisms. And I was going to show the whole interview and show the whole videos and do all that with clips and stuff, but I don't want to get claimed at all, and so I'm just doing the audio. But like, if you go and watch him, watch as he's asked these questions, both in the Paris interview and in the Destin one. And when they ask certain questions, his response is damn near fed up looking. Like,
oh, that no that he gave Destin.
Jeez, that's like, well, it's that. It's the, why are we talking about the Series S again? Why are we talking about hardware? Like, why are you mentioning handheld? Would you shut the hell up? I haven't said a fucking word about handhelds, and y'all keep bringing this shit up. Like, it was something said out of, and even at one point in the Destin interview, he sits there and he goes, well, I can't speak for this guy. I'll give my answer. Like, if y'all don't know what it means to be an Xbox, we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. We're gonna get there. So like, PlayStation players, please stop playing Captain Save-A-Ho. I know Astrobot has trained you to rescue every bot you can.
Yeah.
But Lord Jesus, y'all got to stop. Y'all got to stop. I know. I want to see how bad some of these games are too. But like, give it a rest, guys. You're saving the company you don't like. Like, that's the other thing. Console war aside, as much bullshit as this community talks about Microsoft and about them as a corporation, and wow, that was a weird way to say that. But them as a corporation and them as a company, and then just hoeing out your money like that? Just saying, here, just take it, just take it, just take it. Like, I don't understand that. And, as we have found, the ultimate FU, Hi-Fi Rush is coming to PS Plus. So, there you go.
Oh, is it?
It is.
I didn't even see that. Oh, wow.
So, I think it's the February game.
Oh, wow.
Hi-Fi Rush to PS Plus. I thought it was Hi-Fi Rush. Hang on. I might be wrong. I could have swore it said it was like 3 games and one of them was Hi-Fi Rush. High on Life. My bad. High on Life.
Oh, okay.
The other high one. My bad. I was like, man, I could have swore I saw that. But like, so I don't fully understand what's happening. Maybe if I go over here and I get some more context from this guy who looks like he's about to bawl and cry the entire time. Also, Destin has 57,000 views on this video, and I am certain that about 45,000 of those are people hate watching this shit. I just...
Oh, man.
Hey, Hero, it's not ignorant. It is ignorant, actually. But I am a goat. Thanks. I am the greatest of all time. I appreciate that. So, here's the interview. We're going to start it at 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Actually, nope. We are going to start it at... I'm not going to do the whole largest technical leap. Guys, if you want to hear somebody roast somebody for a good 45 minutes over AI tech in the new Xbox and what that means and how Phil Spencer side-skirted that, y'all need to go watch The Grindhouse and listen to his entire rant on that whole section, because he absolutely destroys it. I am actually going to fast forward a bit and get over here to all games going everywhere. So let's start with this, actually.
Yes, so I'm
I'm
going to
back,
go
Thrifty, just so
there.
you know.
How are those
what's up,
Xbox handheld prototypes you teased to Bloomberg coming along?
That could be fun again.
You have to use the product, right?
Joking,
and that's
joking.
what we do. Whether it's the products that are in market today, I think it's important the partnerships that we have with the
So did you dismiss
OEMs,
me?
thinking about our Xbox experience through the
I'm just
Xbox
talking while
app
Thrifty's saying nothing.
and how it
Are you
No,
setting
I
something
have
up
a
for
video
me?
performs
playing.
on smaller form factor,
Okay, good.
controller-driven devices, how we're streaming, how Game Pass shows up. It's not just on the device side, but yes, device innovation has to happen, but also our services, our UI, our games tested on those platforms, on those screen sizes, on the devices that perform at that level of performance. It's a lot of work for us to stay on top of this, but it allows more people to play the great games that are out there. And for the industry, I just think that's a critical thing for us to be focused on right now.
Yeah, ripping the Band-Aid off on that topic while you're there.
Here it is.
Are all Xbox games going to PlayStation someday, or will there still be exclusives? How are those red lines looking these days?
The red line, just to be clear, was of me responding to an answer. I sometimes gets positioned if I kind of ran out with a red lines t-shirt on. We are finding that our games shipping on multiple platforms is a good thing for Xbox. It makes Xbox stronger.
No, it makes Xbox money. It makes Xbox money. Like, game shipping on all platforms makes makes Xbox money. That's all it does. That's it. Let's continue.
It lets us do shows like we did with Showcase with great games, give our game time teams the time they need for us to invest in platform, for us to invest in hardware. I think all of this is part of what Xbox is going to be when we go forward. When you ask the question like no, I mean, there's Xbox games that have shipped that we're not going to put on other platforms. Some of the things we'll look at how they do, but you're going to see more games, not
All right.
just shipping on PlayStation,
That's a big one.
shipping
That's a
on
big one. Let's go
PlayStation
back
games
just
that
real
have
quick.
shipped that we invest in hardware. I think all of this is part of what Xbox is going to be when we go forward. When you ask the question like no, I mean, there's Xbox games that have shipped that we're not going to put on other platforms.
There are Xbox games that have shipped. That's past tense, my guys. That is not present tense. That's not games that are upcoming. That is past tense. So what that might mean,
Exactly.
we ain't going to get Gears 1 and 2. We're probably not going to get, unless it's a part of a remaster collection or
Are you
whatnot.
telling me we're not going to get Crackdown 3?
We might not get Crackdown 3.
Some bullshit.
Did he say some games that have shipped, or did he say all games that have shipped?
Some games that have shipped will not come over.
So we still might get Redfall.
So
you're telling me there's a chance.
Ooh, crossing my fingers.
I can't wait to make a second Bethesda account. It'll make me so happy.
But like, that's one of the first things I picked up on in this was when he said games that have shipped and not games that are going to ship. I was like, oh, everything's coming from here forward. Everything.
Yeah, and I think that the Xbox dude's expecting everything to be shipped all at once over, like all ported, all of the old ones ported straight away. Like what I said before, there is something you need to keep, track of when you're in a big business like Microsoft is making sure that you have a steady growth for your shareholders. So they don't want to port everything all at once. Plus, if you port 40 games in a month, then, not that they have 40, but if you port all 4 of them in a week, not every gamer is going to be able to buy them. So you wait until you find lulls in releases, and then you chuck in a game there. So
they are doing...
It's coming. We knew it.
They are bitches. That's the funniest thing ever. Like, all the highest of highs that you experience in that moment being followed with PlayStation 5 in the spring. Like, shit. Ouch. But that's one of the things that really that's one of the things that really stuck out to me was, first of all, he's talking to Destin right now, and if y'all could see Destin's face, it's not one of happiness. It's not one of... So the first, 6.5 minutes of this video, they're cutting up. They're having a great time talking about previous events, talking about just how they met. There's just all this cool stuff. Really awesome introduction to the interview, to the way they were handling it. And then these questions come up. And I kid you not, from 8 minutes on, it's just comedic gold. And anybody with half a brain should be able to look at this and go, oh, yeah, we don't have an identity, which is really funny because Destin later will be asking him questions about the Xbox identity. So let's continue while I get a drink of water.
Platforms, some of the things we'll look at how they do, but you're going to see more games, not just shipping on PlayStation, shipping on Nintendo. We'll continue to support Steam the way that they ship. We want our games to be in places that people play. We think that enables us to do more on platform,
Which is not on the Xbox.
do more on hardware, and it's a good system for us that works. It doesn't mean every other company's got to do it that way, but it does mean I think that measuring our progress is different than maybe we measured the progress of Xbox or a console-only platform 10 years ago. It's why we talk a lot about players. I think a lot about the hours that people play on our platform, where we're seeing growth. And this has enabled us to grow in places that we don't normally. Our fastest growing region right now is Asia in terms of players. And you may think about hours. Our fastest growing hours is on cloud. It's us finding players in places that people want to go play.
And that right there. And then we're going to skip to the next section. Finding, took the words right out of my mouth. Finding places where players want to play their games. Once again, back to the scenario. If I could play Zelda Breath of the Wild at 4K locked 60 with all the bells and whistles, why the hell would I play it on the Switch? I want to play it on the best possible console out there. And that's not an Xbox. That's not a Nintendo. That's a PlayStation 5 Pro. And so when he sits there and says, hey, I want people to be able to play, we need it. What did he say? Hang on. What did he say?
Cloud. It's us finding players in places that people want to go play.
Us finding players in places where people want to play. What they should be doing right now is trying to figure out where they fucked up and course correct. Right? Like, PlayStation had a terribly, not terribly, they had no major tentpole releases. There was a lot of crap that happened. They shut down some studios. Games got canceled that we heard about that we weren't supposed to. They lost Shuhei Yoshida to retirement. They lost Ted Price to retirement. Like, there's a lot of shit happening. Go ahead.
Can I interject for a second?
Yeah.
So I agree with what you're saying, and I just want to say what they're doing, in my opinion, is they're going, we're going to ship everywhere and just see where everyone just starts growing, right? And they're doing this, and they're not obviously going to see much growth on console because on mobile, because everyone who was already wanting to play on mobile was already playing there. And so they're just wanting to go around to everyone and see where everyone is. And they're really just finding everyone's on PlayStation, right? Well, a lot of people on PlayStation are spending money, right? And it sort of reminds me of Henry Ford. The quote he said was, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said they wanted a faster horse. And my point is that they don't really innovate a lot. They just try to look at metrics too much. And they don't innovate much, in my opinion, like Xbox. And whereas PlayStation like pushes things forward. Like, you know, we can argue, or we can talk about, you know, PSVR not being as good as it should or flopping or whatever, but at least they did something. At least they innovated. At least they tried something. And whether it fails or not, at least they tried. And whereas Xbox doesn't really seem to be trying, in my opinion. Just releasing everywhere is not really trying. And with this interview, I don't know if I missed it or if it hasn't been said yet about he's trying to sell hardware. Like, he wants their hardware to do well. I'm just like, wow, you want it to do well?
Yeah.
And this is what you've given us?
So
wow.
It was the last
like
interview.
Yeah.
Actually, at the last interview at 13 minutes and 38 seconds, he's talking about Nintendo and how we want to support Nintendo and how we want to support them with games and content because we really like them. Literally, he needed to wipe his mouth after that. Like, Lord help me. Morgan, what do you got? What do you think about this? Does Xbox have any players left on the console?
I mean, what's the saying, right? You know, if you can't get Muhammad to come to the mountain, you gotta bring the mountain to Muhammad. Like, they realize they can't get people to come onto their platform. Like that hill has passed, the time has passed. Like everybody is pretty much on the platform where they want to be, and if not, they're gonna change to a better platform, and that's usually PlayStation, Nintendo, or PC, right? So because they look at the numbers like Wara Wana said, and they realize that they can't really get any hardware growth. Like I keep pointing out those numbers, but we see the decline in hardware, right? So their only means of getting these games, especially if you spend billions of dollars on an acquisition with ZeniMax and Activision, you have to sell them somewhere. And you're not going to sell them to a fan base that has a rental service that, they expect their games to drop day and date on. So you have to take them somewhere. And where's the buying power? The buying power is on PlayStation. The buying power is on Nintendo. Like that's where their revenue streams are going to come from. So it's just like I don't know how many times Phil is going to have to reiterate to people that this is what it is. That's why he's so excited to get on Nintendo. Looking at the Switch is on its way to outsell the PS2. Of course, he's excited to get on that Switch too. He's like, he see the amount of potential customers that he could have on the Switch too. And, especially with it coming out, and it's people are going to come in wanting to play, new games on it. Maybe Call of Duty for the first time. Like, oh man!
And they've already been building on a toaster, so like building on a
exactly.
more
they
powerful
have
toaster.
So much practice with that Series S. You know what I'm saying? So they're already well equipped to handle, that little bit of power.
Absolutely insane. One of the things that I didn't cover and didn't decide to cover in the Paris interview was he's asking, or maybe it is this one, where he's talking about the future of the Xbox console and about oh no, we're gonna get to it in this. Never mind. All right, we're gonna continue, but yeah, oh god. Okay, so next up is the Starfield exclusivity. This is going to be the shortest and
show this one. Show the video of this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna show the video. I
him
have to.
answering nice and short and curt.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so he did what I don't mind. He answered and then expounded. When you have to sit there and go on and on and on and make back loops and backflips and take me around the track 55 times just to give me a 2-letter or 3-letter answer, that shit's annoying. Now, if you sit there and say, yes, here's why, and then give me everything, that at least I can go, okay, cool. I want to know. Tell me why. Because if I ask you a question, Morgan, do you like pizza?
Well, let me tell you about the Italian ancestry right
God
now.
dang it. Okay, I was hoping
Italy
you
is
were
set
just
up.
going to say yes. So I could ask you the follow-up, but you flipped it.
You ask a question,
Give me the
you're
Phil Spencer
going to get.
answer.
Jeez. But it's that. It's literally the thing, and I've talked about this in the Sarah Bond interview. It's the thing that annoys me the most when you ask somebody a fucking question and they give you a story. I didn't ask you a story. I asked you a question. It's a yes or
so
no
Morgan's
question.
not allowed to say about the ancestral history, the history of of pizza.
I was gonna say, it's a grand such history. I love that there are so many different types of restaurants for pizza. I love the diversity of the chains. You can go to one chain and have a completely different experience from a different one.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's great. You can have Chicago. As long as we all get to eat pizza,
New
right?
York style,
As long as everybody gets to eat the pizza that they want at the place they want when they
Right.
want it, right? That's
You even have vegan options now for those, our lactose intolerant friends.
holy crap. I just realized something. So YouTube on the Streamlabs desktop just said we've only had like 16 viewers for like an hour. And apparently it's no longer connected. I can still see the chat, but anyways, sorry. Hey guys, there's like 28 of y'all in here. I really appreciate that. Thank y'all for all showing up. That's awesome.
Thrifty, the tier 0 CEO answer of any question is to ask yourself a different question, then answer that.
Yeah. So
That's
I learned that
you're
in
probably what you're going to say.
Zootopia.
Sorry. Yeah.
No. I learned that from the movie Zootopia when Nick
Yeah.
is talking to the bunny, and
Yeah.
he's like, no. You don't have to answer the question. You just ask the question and then answer it. So did 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 I say that it wasn't going to happen that way? Yes, I did. Jesus. Okay, here it is, guys. This is the best part. Okay, here we go. Oh, where did it? Oh, I have it muted. No.
No, to be fair, Starfield, like, got it. I remember a speech you made at some point. It was something like, we're doing 4 games. Those games aren't Indiana Jones and Starfield. Indiana Jones has an exclusivity window, to be fair. Can you?
I swear to God, Phil just muttered to himself, "What the fuck?" Like, I don't think that Destin was supposed to ask this question.
Those 4
Because-
games, that business interview will forever haunt Phil.
Oh my
Let's
God.
see if
Okay, yes.
Destin gets another interview with Phil moving forward. Let's just mark to see if this was the last one he ever got.
Like, Phil's face is the face of fuck off. Like, his whole face says that. It is priceless. And it's not just because I'm pausing. Like,
You
watch.
solidify that Starfield staying put for the time being?
I just let 3 seconds play, and his face didn't change. Like, I wasn't pausing it. His whole face, for a good 5 seconds, just said, screw you. Like, why are we doing this right now? So, let's continue.
No, like I'm not. There's no specific game that this kind of goes back to my red line answer. Like, there's no reason for me to put a ring fence around any game and say this game will not go to a place that it would find players, where it would have business success for us. What we find is we're able to drive a better business that allows us to invest in great game lineup, like you saw, and that's our strategy, right?
That's our strategy. That, first of all, look at the way he answered.
There's no specific.
Oh, to be fair,
That's the answer of a
No,
shut up man
like
right there.
Starfield staying put for the time being?
No, like it,
He
Do you guys
paused-
remember the Simpsons episode? Sorry to cut in.
Oh, go ahead.
Do you guys remember the Simpsons episode when, I think it's the episode where not Nelson, oh my God, Chief Wiggum's son, what's that kid's name?
Ralphie?
Ralphie gives a card for I choose you
No.
for Valentine's Day. Do you remember that? I choose
I do.
you. And then I think it's the same episode where Bart's like showing the video where his heart, like you can see the exact second where his heart explodes from her like turning him down. I think it's all the same episode, and he just like goes forward, like one frame, and his heart's like, ugh. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, and Bart's just like, you can see the exact frame when his heart. Yeah, sorry. That just reminds me of that.
No.
If no one knows it, I know Josh will know it. Yeah, I know Josh will know it.
No,
He's,
but you get.
obsessed with.
He said, "Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
Valentine's Day episode." Yeah.
Yeah, good. Yeah,
So
wish I had the clip up, but whatever.
he was so. Yes, because this was all planned. All of our responses and everything was planned out before the show. Y'all just don't know that. So he looked so annoyed, and you could tell. So one of the cool things when you like take like psychology courses and sociology courses, when you start like realizing little ticks that people do that people don't even realize, and it's almost like universal. When you ask somebody a question, their eyes, if they're really trying to think about it, like sometimes their eyes look up. The reason why is because they're literally searching their brain, and their eyes just naturally go up because they're searching their brain for the information. He looks over to the side almost in a sense of not I'm looking for the answer, but in a sense of, okay, I have a couple options here. And like he's processing all that shit right in the moment. Where he's like, all right, I got a couple options. I can lie my ass off. I can give a really, really long answer. Screw it.
Yeah. I feel like Phil answering it with the whole, it goes back to my red line, the way he said it, really showed how frustrated he was at this question, and he really
Yes.
didn't want to be asked it. And it probably wasn't scripted. Like, I feel like they'd have all their questions agreed to, and Destin probably framed it differently to the way he wrote that he would frame the question. And that's probably why Phil didn't like it. But yeah, he clearly didn't like it. Goes back to my red line. I'm not putting a fence around anything. Because
Yeah.
you're not allowed
There's
to, Phil.
no
Because Satya said everything's got to go, and you got to keep all the
No,
the growth up.
I'm not. There's no.
But yeah. Oh yeah, Jay's. I have to read out Jay. So you have to read out Jay's
but-
thing. That's a no. Like it's a father that's had to repeat himself for the 10th time now. Yeah,
Yes!
exactly. Except it's to another adult.
Yes. Go ahead, Morgan.
Sorry, go more.
No, you're good. I was like, it was a weird question for Destin to ask anyway. Like, hey, can you just tell us that at least Starfield will stay on the platform? Like, bro, why are you so hell bent on finding out if Starfield is gonna come to PlayStation or not, or the fact that you care so much whether it drops on PlayStation or not? Like that specific game, he was just like, can you tell us definitively that Starfield will not drop on PlayStation? And Phil was just like,
No.
"Man, what did I say? I've already answered this question 78 times, bro. There's no red lines. Like, what do you want from me?"
He was smirking so much, like he's like, I got this one in the bag. This is the best question I've ever asked.
It's
And
just like,
no.
is that particular game very, is that the game you cherish the most on Xbox, Destin, and that's the one you want to keep,
Okay,
exclusive
so
to the ecosystem?
in his defense, you have Indiana Jones, you have Starfield, you have Hi-Fi Rush. That's it. They killed one of the studios. The other game has already been shown that it's going to PlayStation. This is their last bastion. So, like, you're asking that, and abso-freaking-lutely. This
they still got Redfall.
This they killed that studio too after forcing them to make that game. Fuck all the way off. Anyways, not you, them. Oh, that shit annoys me. God, don't force somebody to make a game and then cancel it, or not cancel them, and then shut them down because they did what you told them to do. If you ask me to do something at my job that is not my job, that I don't want to do, that I know nothing about doing, and then you come to me and go, hey, that looks like you kind of half-assed that. Yes, I did. Yes, I absolutely did. Like it says. Why? Well, because for one, I don't really know how to do it in the first place. So I was kind of just winging it to start with. But two, I don't give a rat's ass about this. This is not, like, y'all pay me way too much to do this. And that's the product you get when you try to force anybody who doesn't give a... Fast food places. Why can they never get the order right? It's because the people who work there don't give a shit. Like, that's why it happens at the lowest of low entry-level jobs. Why do you not think it's going to happen? Anyways, sorry. That whole situation pisses me the hell off. And then what they did with Hi-Fi Rush's studio, Tango Gameworks, absolute disgusting. Praise, 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 praise. The studio's already working on the second one, already got the concept, tried to pitch the idea, and you shut them down. It's freaking... That type of shit pisses me
Remember, though,
off.
Hi-Fi met all their metrics, right?
Every
It exceeded him.
freaking one of them.
Yeah, that was crazy. Crazy that the Aaron Greenberg guy, dude, he's just terrible. Like
Every time
so
he
many
opens
different
his
quotes
mouth,
he's
something
done.
negative happens, I swear.
Oh,
It's
God.
fine, guys. It still has 3 months to release. It's gonna be just fine. Hey, it's delayed. Okay. Well, Aaron, you just need to shh, because every time you say something bad happens every single time.
So when we were referencing the interview earlier about the the studio head trying to soften what the game director was saying about Avowed and the 30 FPS. She was like, I mean, with the game, I mean, there's still quite a bit of time before the game releases, so we don't know exactly where it's gonna. You got 2 months. That's not a ton of time. You should know where you're trying to hit on a frame rate. Like 2 months before release, you should know that. Hell, 2 months before release, we were wondering if we were getting 120 frames per second in Spider-Man 2, or if they were just going to do a lock 60. Like, and then they told us like a month and a half before release, hey, there's going to be all these game modes. Puddlegate, not a thing on this one. They purposely
Yep.
showed the fucking water
The
in the
ray
trailer.
tracing.
Like they
the whole caboodle.
Now that you bring up Spider-Man, do you know that it's coming out on PC in like 15 hours
barely
or
had a clue.
14 hours or something?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought
but you can't. Yeah, but you can't pre-order it. You can only wishlist it on Steam. Just thought I'd say
Really?
that. It was weird. Yeah, they released that. Some people think it's going to be delayed, but yeah, it's weird. It's really weird because
that is weird.
Yeah,
I don't
anyway.
know. I think I think, like I said, everything is getting corrected over at Sony. Everything is the ship's getting righted. I started seeing the marketing or the social media marketing push for Spider-Man on PC today. That was kind of cool. I thought they were just going to let the damn thing come out with nothing, but at least my X timeline was full with Spider-Man 2 and this and that. I'm interested to see what the piracy rate is on it because, oh my lord, I am never going to look at Square Enix again and go, "Hey guys, y'all are dumb. Nobody on PC actually wants to play your games." That's a non-accurate an inaccurate statement. There we go. People on PC want to play your games. They just don't want to buy your games. Because that damn game, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, has been pirated 200,000 plus times on the PC. And that's just through one website. 200K.
Yeah,
So-
Josh, you still can't pre-order it on Steam. I just checked just then again. I only checked 2 hours ago, but I checked again then. Yeah.
God, that's insane. Yeah, Mr. Grimm, great job. Y'all made a really good product. You're fired. Like, that's the that's the shit that we're
I can't
dealing
even
with.
imagine how awkward that conversation was with the Hi-Fi Rush devs. Like, yeah, we appreciate everything. You know, you got all the BAFTA awards. Everybody loves you, but I'm gonna need you to vacate the premises. Wait, what?
So,
Yeah, and then people like Xbox dudes trying to like say that because they got bought out, it's such a win for Xbox. It's like how they got bought out by another company who saved them. If Xbox was the company saving them, you'd be hyping Xbox for it. But now Xbox has
It's
cancelled,
like-
closed the studio, and now you're giving them props for someone else buying them. Oh, come on,
And they
bro.
were gonna get canned
anyway.
regardless of whether someone saved them or not. Like, it's not like Xbox was gonna wait for somebody to come through and save them. Like, they were gonna go out the door. It just so happens that, you know, the Rocket League devs came out and thank God supported them, and so Hi-Fi Rush 2 is gonna come out. But Microsoft was gonna, you know, kick them out the door regardless. So it's not an Xbox win.
it literally has to feel like the only thing I can relate that feeling to is, and it's happened to me when I was a kid. Anybody who has like parents, it's happened from your parents to you, usually when you're little. And if you're honest, you as a parent, if you've been a parent, have done it to your children as well, if they're old enough. It's the whole thing where the kid is in the kitchen, let's say they're making something. You don't know that as the parent. All you hear is your 6-year-olds in the kitchen banging shit around. You know nothing else. You go in there, and for me, I made cinnamon rolls. And when I was 7 years old, or no, 8 years old, I used my mom's country cookbook. I made a full batch of cinnamon rolls, did everything. My dad came out. I was so proud of myself for doing such a good job and making Sunday morning breakfast for the family, everything. And my dad came out and he didn't see anything except the mess everywhere, right? And so like he started getting on to me. And then and this is, I'm using my dad because one, he doesn't watch the stream, but two, like we're grown and like
Mom
that's all
does,
cool.
but not dad.
Mom's not here anymore. Anyways, the like basically like he starts laying into me and I start getting in trouble, and like I literally start feeling like, wait, I I did good. I did all the things. Yeah, the kitchen's a wreck and there's flour on the floor and I spilled an egg and there's milk everywhere and I'm covered in
Fuck,
dough
yeah.
from head
We
to
might have
toe.
had the same parents. We
But
might have had
like-
the same parents. to be
But
honest with you.
like, but like, I did everything. How,
Mhm.
why are you mad? Like,
Yep.
it's
Me and my siblings did a similar thing. You know, like we clean. We you know, it's like, you know what, mom's working hard. You know, dad's working hard. So, you know, we're gonna clean the house today, and like, you know, it'll be a big surprise. You know, mom has to always push us to clean, right? So it's like, yeah, we're gonna clean the kitchen and the living room, blah blah blah. You know, so we were cleaning everything. We were getting everything nice. You know, making sure everything smelled good, had candles lit and everything. My mom walked into the house. I'm like, look, Mom, we cleaned. And she looks like immediately at like the trash and it's like, the trash, you guys piled up the trash over there in the corner. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, what? Wait, we cleaned for you. Like, just did not care. I was just like, we just did all of this out of love. And you immediately see all you can focus on after we cleaned this entire house is the trash in the corner that we were going to take out anyway. But it's just like, all right, okay, Mom, thanks. Never mind.
And that's how it had to feel. Like when you mentioned, Morgan, like the awkwardness of that conversation, that's the first thing that popped into my head was like, yep, I've been there. When you think you're doing it. So my team lead and I screw with each other all the time. Whenever one of us messes something up, we'll go, see, you thought you was doing a good job when all the while you was fucking up. Like that's like and it's literally what we do to each other all the time. It's quite comical, but like that had to be what they went through. Like, okay, guys. So I know you got the internal memo. Yes, it's true. We're dissolving your studio, but all of us have jobs, right? Like you're moving us to other. Well, no. But I thought you liked our work. Oh, we do. It's more us than like, dear goodness gracious.
I don't think it's I mean, it's bad for them, but I think it also just resonates with the rest of all their teams, which is why I think they're unionizing as much as they can.
Oh, yeah.
But imagine being one of the other teams where you're like, so you're telling me that we can ship a game that's praised by everyone and still be shut down? Well, what, you just turn into just someone who's not as passionate, like most of the time, I'm guessing, where you're just like, well, no matter how good or bad I do, I might be gone regardless. So what's, like I know integrity will keep you working hard, and I'm not saying that, that would incentivize you to not do good work, but just the thought of doing a great job and just being fired, I'd look over and be like, well, fuck this place. Personally, that's what I would do.
Yeah, I mean, they did everything they needed to do. It's not like they made a bad game. No, they made a great fun game on a smaller budget and got praise from consumers and reviewers, right? Got awards for it. So it's not like you can't say, well, guys, we didn't try our best, so these things happen. But it's just like you put your best foot forward. You try to make something different because they're known for being a horror studio, and then it's completely left field for Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, and it's like with the fact that they've released other bad games and they haven't been shut down, like 343, for example, they can release underwhelming Halos and there's no issue. It's like when you're
Halo Studios, sir.
Halo Studios now, yeah.
Redefined.
Completely studio. Yeah. Hey Henry, how you going? But yeah, it's like the scariest person to deal with, like, is someone who is unpredictable. I'm talking now about confrontational. Someone who how they react. It's easier to deal with them. Whereas someone who's more unpredictable, a psychopath, you just don't know whether they're going to pull a knife or anything like that. They're a lot harder to deal with. Now, this is not obviously corporate talk, but in the corporate world, then you're talking about a company that can, like I just said, fire you even though you've released the best game of the last 3 years for that company, and you're still shut down. Man, I wouldn't be working for Microsoft.
Mm-hmm. And then save them from the drought that they had in 2022. Like, how there were no games.
Yeah.
Hi-Fi Rush was essentially the first game to come out, and it was a hit. Like, bro, the lack
crazy.
of
So this kind of feeds into the next section of the interview where he asked this really good question about, and he references Satya Nadella's statement that they're changing what it means to be an Xbox fan, which I think is funny. So let's listen to Phil's reply on
screen that people want to play on.
That's just like such a copium statement anyway. We're redefining what it is to be a fan. Like, no. Ferrari doesn't decide what a Ferrari fan is. Ferrari will make good products and do whatever it is they do, and then the fans will follow them or not. Like, it's just so fucking stupid to say the words that comes out of their fucking mouths, but they just keep doing it.
So you will like Phil's answer then, and we can actually discuss why I don't necessarily like Phil's answer. So here's his answer to the question.
Are a little concerned about, how should I say it, Xbox losing its identity, maybe? What would you say to address those concerns from longtime fans?
Well, one, I hear them, right? I'm pretty active in our player base, and I'm active in the community. I listen. I think our identity will continue to evolve, which it frankly always has. But when I hear concerns about, is my library of games safe? Am I still going to be able to play the games? And I think over the years,
All right, so what's the identity of Xbox? It's always changing. It's ever changing. Oh, okay. And also, hey, what I hear most is that people just want to make sure their library is safe. What the actual fuck? Like, how is that? How is this your response? How is that? You're not answering the question. Let's continue.
I'm proud of the commitment we've shown to respecting purchases on our platform through back compat, through cross entitlement, Xbox Play Anywhere, through cross-play, things that we've done to enable people to continue to play. So I hear that when I think about I see the investments we're making in platform and how we want Xbox to show up in multiple places and your library to be available there. When I think about buy to stream, so if I buy a game, I'll be able to stream it to devices. Like, this is all about making sure that your library of games that you own on Xbox are playable in multiple places. So I'd say it's an evolution of our identity, but I believe it's an identity that this industry needs. When you think about where this industry is.
Their identity is that their games are playable in more places. Hey Phil, what do you tell the fan who's worried that Xbox is losing its identity, and that they're worried that they don't really have a console home for? I mean, what do you tell them? Well, I mean, I think the Xbox identity is always evolving, and I mean, really, our identity is that you can play our games everywhere.
With everything but saying it outright, Bill is basically saying buy a PlayStation. Well, he's obviously not saying it directly, and obviously he does make comments. Like I said before, it's just like he wants to, or Switch, or like it's fine if you get an Xbox. But honestly, he probably laugh at anyone who buys an Xbox console, because it's like you're missing out on the PlayStation exclusives that are on there, and then this on the Switch, you're missing out on the exclusives that will be on the Switch too, when they support that. And it's just like he's just made it so that there's still a reason to buy a PlayStation and a Switch, but there's not a reason to buy a Xbox. You're not really getting anything out of it. Now, obviously, you can say that, there's no need to buy a PlayStation because you can go on PC. We all know that PC is a different kettle of fish than a console. Console gamers are not the same as PC gamers. They're dealing with different things and all the rest. And then there's also those weirdos who play on NVIDIA Cloud. But, no, I'm just joking. Nothing against Cloud, I'm only joking. But yeah, so...
Oh, I thought you were taking a stab at Morgan for her playing on GeForce. But that
was a joke. Yeah, that was a joke. Yeah. That was a joke. But yeah, no, I don't actually care. But yeah, but obviously this whole thing about like pushing everyone over to PC or all the rest, like Phil is just saying buy a PlayStation without saying it directly, and all these Xbox podcast dudes can't get it. And it's like, yes, he's got there's a lot of more nuance to it than what I just said, but it's like, come on, like. Why, like, what are you getting out of your Xbox? And again, like I said at the start of the podcast, you can play wherever you want, that's fine. But if you're talking about like access to games, you don't have access to any extra games on Xbox than you would on PlayStation. And then again with Switch, but different loads of games. So there's still a reason, in my opinion, if you're a console gamer, to play on a PlayStation or a Switch, but not a lot to play on an Xbox. And so all these interviews is just like, it's the same stuff, just reclarified, really.
So, Morgan, did you ever own an Xbox?
I did. I had the Xbox 360, the best Xbox.
Okay, so you didn't have the X.
Oh, I did not, no.
Okay,
no.
So the reason I asked is because Henry in the chat, by the way, what up, Henry? Henry in the chat said this. He said, what about people who bought a Series X to play their games there who don't care about playing them elsewhere? I think the data and the sales numbers, remember, earlier, and Henry, you weren't here, but I know you've seen these. The number is hardware sales are down 29% for the last quarter of the year. Like,
And can I just ask JC 2013? Are you talking about like because Xbox is getting things day and date and then it's releasing later, or are you talking about the PlayStation going over to PC? I think you're talking about PlayStation going to PC.
I think he is
But
too.
yeah, like either one of them. Like if you're a gamer who wants to play a game at release, then you'll get that whatever console or whatever it's on. I get that. But a lot of people a lot of people may just wait. But everyone makes their own decision, which is why I said, and people who buy an Xbox just to play the subscription, I get that as well. Like I play Game Pass when I get it. When I build up a free version, I'll play that on PC and yeah, or use cloud gaming on my phone from time to time. Very rarely, mainly just at work, just quietly. But yeah,
This man.
sorry, continue.
No, you're fine. But like, I think that what Xbox is realizing is that there are not enough players that just want to play on Xbox. That's what this whole thing is. That's what all of this is. And I think the nail in the coffin was, I honestly, as much as we bullshit and as much as we joke around, the nail in the coffin wasn't even a PlayStation-led thing. The nail in the coffin was Baldur's Gate 3. That was the absolute turning point. If you have to pinpoint one area or one decision that they made or one thing that went wrong, it was two things that year. It was Redfall, where they blamed their studio, causing the studio then to retaliate and blame them. That's never something you want to see. As a leader, you always fall on your sword, and you fall on your sword in public, and you handle everything else in closed doors. Everything else. It is one. If you are a leader, if you're a manager, if you're an owner of anything, restaurant business, it is 100% your responsibility, whether it is 100% your fault. Doesn't matter. And so when you look at these people and you go, hey, listen. I mean, initially when you bought your Xbox console day one when
Yeah,
it launched, Phil sold them a console that now he's telling them they didn't need to buy. Oh,
yeah, no,
I thought you were going more on the altruistic, like benevolent side of there's going to be gamers who want to stick with that platform because that's their platform of choice,
yeah.
not necessarily because exclusives. Oh no, he done fucked them over real hard.
I feel
If
like there
that was
could
your
actually be a
question.
class. I feel like there could be actually be a class action lawsuit. I'm not going to pretend to be a lawyer, but there could be a class action lawsuit because if you bought it after that roundtable when they said that they bought Bethesda to make their games exclusive, the roundtable before this one that's on screen, not the JW, like the one that after they cleared ZeniMax,
Yeah.
Bethesda, you could put forward a case as a class action lawsuit with a group of people to try and say that they bought it simply because of that promise. But that also might be why Redfall and Starfield hasn't made its way across yet, even though it's logical to make Starfield come across, right? So maybe they're deliberately delaying those simply so that they do avoid class action, whereas Bethesda games not as much. I don't know. Yeah, whatever.
Like,
What?
but
Yeah, but I
that
agree with what
is,
Henry's saying. Yeah, I'd be mad. I'd be mad if I went out and bought an Xbox.
dude, could you imagine how pissed off I would be? Now, here's the deal. I am one, even though I can look at shit logically. Y'all mentioned it earlier, Morgan. I think it was you when you talked about Nintendo and Mario and Sega with Sonic, and that's
Mhm.
always been the battle, right? That's always been. Gamers are going to argue based off of the exclusive characters that they have. Fuck IP. We just want the character that we can latch onto. Like, that's it. And so for PlayStation, at least during PS1, that was Cloud. Like for me at least, it was Cloud. It was Cloud Strife, PS1 all day long. That was the dude. Spyro, things like. But if you go further back, that's why this why the hell this whole thing is named the Playground. Because this is the time to come in and stick out your chest and talk about your favorite box and your favorite mascot and how Astrobot completely wipes the floor with any mascot that they have over there at Xbox, like especially in recent memory. So like it's the fun side of it. when you do stuff like this, and that's what gives us as consumers, and it sounds really messed up when you think about it, because there is fandom that's tied into this. And when you realize that that makes you a little bit biased and a little bit off your rocker to like really care about these IPs from a mega corporation like even like a Sony, like they don't give two shits about Thrifty in his living room playing this game. They don't care. Not on any kind of meaningful level. But for some reason, we as people love flocking to shit. And we love going, nope, mine. And so Kratos, mine. Spider-Man, mine. Like, assholes, you can't have them over on the Xbox. Sorry, those are mine. Horizon Zero Dawn, Horizon Forbidden West, Uncharted, Last of Us, mine, 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 and mine. And I know that sounds fucked up. Like, I say it, and I'm like, oh, I sound like one of those fucked up console fanboys. But I am. Like, does that make sense? Like, when you are a fan of something, it's more prevalent in sports, and it's more socially acceptable in sports. But when you are a fan of something, you overlook stupid shit all the time. My question is, and this is based off of what Henry said, how much longer can they overlook shit? Like, we've already seen Paris come out and do follow-up videos to the interview, guzzling down everything that Phil Spencer dropped. And going, oh, it's going to be great. They're going to be everywhere. This new shift. It's awesome. Do I want games to go? Like, go ahead.
Yeah, I just I can't listen to people who just changed their opinion and thoughts so much at the whim of a corporation. I just, like, it's okay. Like, I don't get why they think they have to align themselves 100% with these companies. But it's because they are fucking bought and paid for by Microsoft. And when I say that, like, yeah, maybe they're not paying him straight up, but he's loyal as fuck to him, and he just changed. We've seen him over the years say about, it's good that Xbox is getting exclusives, and then as soon as they said they're not getting them, he's like, yeah, it's good they're not getting exclusives. They're bad for people. It's like, what? Just... Yeah, like Buck Roger just said, he's just a fraud and a shill. Like, he gets flown out to the events and he goes to the events. Like, as a person, he's probably a great guy. I'm not commenting on him as a person. I'm not attacking him personally. But just those opinions, I just can't listen to them. And it's like, if you align yourself 100% with a corporation, maybe their marketing is just really good. Or maybe they're paying you. Who knows? But yeah, exactly. He wouldn't get interviews. I am so fucking keen to know, and long term we'll see, whether Destin gets another Phil interview. Or whether this was the last one he gets. Can't wait to see. If he does, all the best to him. But, like, I'm interested to see whether Phil cuts him off after that.
Morgan, I have been talking a lot right here. What do you have to say before we get on to why buy an Xbox? Because that's literally going to answer Henry's question.
Oh no, we can go ahead. I said everything I needed to say. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, before we step into that, can I just have a quick throw-in question here?
Yeah.
I was watching a speedrunner the other day, and he was talking about tier lists of boss battles, right? This can be in any game. It doesn't matter what game it is. It's not relevant. And the chat, can you guys chime in as well? He made a comment, and this is really from his speedrunner take. He said that all gimmick bosses in games are C tier or below. What are your thoughts? So I'll give you an example. Have you guys both played Demon Souls?
Nope.
No, okay, it doesn't matter. Yeah, okay, so one of the god, I can't remember the name of the boss. It's a gimmick boss because you have to, like, hit these things to unchain him or whatever, and then you hit him in the head and he dies. But, like, when he said it, I was like, that's a really good point because there's not a lot of replayability. But my sort of take is the best part of any game for me, Dragon God, that's it. Because I disagreed with his take that, a gimmick boss has to be a C tier because in games, like, sometimes, well, for me, nearly every time you play a game for the first time, it's like the best feeling because I'm fully immersed and it's just like experiencing everything for the first time. Like, for example, I constantly say how much I love the storyline of BioShock, and, like, playing it again just wouldn't be as exciting. But the first time is just amazing. But if you guys can think of any like gimmick bosses that you guys have loved and you would like rank it as like an S tier fight, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Sorry, I didn't like plan this. I just wanted to drop it in because it just came to my mind.
I don't necessarily. I'm gonna let Morgan answer if she has one.
Yeah, like a gimmick boss is something that there's sort of like I can think of like Dark Souls ones, but I'm trying to avoid them. I can't think of any good examples. It's just like it's a boss that you have to fight a certain way, or there's some sort of like you keep dying. You're like, why do I keep dying? And this is a gimmick boss. Like probably a bad example, but on PS1 there was a boss in Metal Gear where you had to put he could mind control you, so you had to put the thing into player 2 slot, the controller. So
Oh, I
I don't
remember
know if you
hearing
guys
about
have played
that.
it. Yeah. Like when you play it on So when you play it on PC now, it just comes up with a thing or whatever, or PlayStation comes up with a thing to like to change it now because obviously you don't actually plug things in anymore. But yeah, sorry, Nate. But yeah, like that's a gimmick boss. But like I don't agree with like I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm saying my take is different to his. Like I think that some gimmick bosses can be S tier. I just couldn't think of any good ones. Like I said, I only brought it up because I wanted to hear your take, but I should
I
have planned
can't
it.
think of any
Yeah.
recent like I probably would like be like, oh, like if I looked back on what games I played, I'm like, oh yeah, it's obviously a gimmick boss, but I cannot think of anything
I mean,
off
the
the top of
only
Yeah.
my
one that
head.
comes to mind is Emerald Weapon from Final Fantasy VII. It's not so much a gimmick boss, but like if you had a very specific combination of skills equipped and items equipped, like if you had the Knights of the Round with Quad and I think Mime or Mimic, and another one, you could literally get into the fight, and if you had to have two characters that were dead already, get into the fight, use Cloud to cast or to summon Knights of the Round, and it would literally just copy it and keep copying it and keep copying it. It was something like that. Like you had to do this certain thing, and then you just set the controller down, and you just let the game, with everything that you just programmed in, you just let the game run the fight. And so, like, that's the only gimmick. There was a section in Stellar Blade that it was this lighthouse, not a lighthouse. It was a laser on the top of a hill, and as you got close, the laser would fucking kill you. It would just shoot at you, and you had to dodge it while running forward. Well, if you approach it from the entrance of the level, or from the entrance of the zone, you would always end up on the side of a mountain where it would always be able to hit you. If you actually went all the way around, then you could get to it by hiding behind these little platforms. It would fire, you would move, it would fire, you would move. But like that's not really a boss. It was just a gimmicky section, and I don't even know
Yep.
if that's what you mean, you know?
Yeah. I should have came in with these examples, but yeah, like probably. But yeah, I just feel like a speedrunner has a different like take on it because he's like replaying the same fight and it just feels monotonous to him. But I think that the take is different when it comes to someone who's on their first playthrough of something. It's like, oh, you figure it out and that's really cool. Like in in Demon Souls, there's another example where there's a boss that will just keep respawning unless you've killed the person who's respawning him, which is not in the boss room. So you can imagine how many people got absolutely annihilated by that and just gave up, and I feel bad for them. But yeah, especially on the PS3 when there's like googling it would have been harder. But yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah, some people just hate gimmick bosses, and their opinion is not wrong. I'm simply just saying, yeah, it's yeah.
I hate
Yeah,
gimmicks a
like Nate
lot of
said, yeah,
times.
speedrunners are just different. Like they're doing something a lot different to what normal like other gamers are doing, where they're just normally playing through a game once or a couple of times, maybe platinuming it, whereas they're doing finding
Yeah.
sort of making a sport out of it. Yeah,
So
different again. Yeah.
we're gonna finish this last section, and then we're gonna be done. There's like
Yep.
still a half of the interview left, but I really want to cover this last little portion of why buy an Xbox. Um, Actually, no, it's not that one. It's this one. It's the one where he talks about Series S parity and the parity clause because this one is very, very telling. I want y'all to listen to the way he frames the Series S as literally putting their development studios ahead of the curve in game development. It's the damnedest thing I have ever heard in my life. Here. It's just
thing, but I'll just ask you directly. Would you ever consider dropping or adjusting the Xbox Series S parity clauses with the Xbox Series X, those sort of requirements? Some developers have brought up difficulty optimizing for the Series S. Can you tell us any more about plans there?
Yeah, in a way, I think about it in almost exactly the opposite way right now. With the rise of handheld PCs and even
quick, I want y'all to look at
the
this.
introduction so far of the Switch 2, PCs and opposite way right
look
now.
At his face
Tell us
right
any more
here.
about plans there?
Yeah, in a way, I think about it in almost exactly the opposite way right now. With the rise of handheld PCs and even the introduction so far of the Switch 2, as developers, we're building on more device specs, from lower powered, because they're battery powered devices, all the way through things that plug into the wall. I actually think we have a real advantage because we've been targeting S for quite a while.
Are you fucking kidding me? It doesn't get better. I've seen this clip 5 times now. It doesn't get better. We have an advantage in the market because we've been targeting S for a long time now. Dear God, if there's any Xbox hate watching this, take your Series X, go find a bum on the street, trade him for his 40. You will get more use out of the beer. I promise. They don't give a rat's ass about the Series X console at all. They have been targeting S. They feel like the S gives them an advantage in the market because of the lower end specs that they think these handhelds are going to be at. Not to mention, they've already said that the new Nintendo handheld, or sorry, speculation is the new Nintendo handheld is going to have some form of DLSS or upscaling tech or things like that built into the damn thing. When they asked you about AI earlier in your shit, hey, how are you going to make something like Pisser? He said, well, we really want to use AI in security to protect our gamers, and that's really how we see it moving forward. No, that's not what he was asking. Now you have him talking about the Xbox parity clause and going, well, no, we actually see it the opposite. We love the parity clause because we feel like it's given us a leg up on... You're a freaking moron. If he believes this, then he is absolutely deranged and broken from reality. Morgan, what do you think about this? The Series S gives them an advantage in the market.
I mean, I guess it gives them an advantage of games coming at a later date. I mean, I don't really know what to say about that. I mean, it's he can't. I mean, as a CEO, I guess he can't disparage his console because I mean, especially the S, because apparently, according to data, it's the majority of consoles that people own as far as the Series S and X. I think it's like 53% Series S, 40 whatever percentage for the X. So the majority of Xbox gamers or consumers are Series S owners. So I mean, he's not going to disparage the majority of his console base. And so even with all the negative press surrounding Series S, he's going to try to spin it into some way like, well, because of us struggling with this S so much, we've learned a lot. We've learned how to develop for like the lowest spec console. And it's just like, I mean, cool. I guess that's technically something positive, through trials and tribulations we have overcome type situation. But I guarantee you, if, there was a decision that had to be made for the next gen of Xbox, I guarantee you that a low spec option was not on the table. I guarantee you they're not going to do a Series S again. Like, it's just too much of a hassle. Like, regardless of what he says, it's like, oh yeah, it's low spec has helped us, and it's helped
I
us learn to
disagree.
develop. Like, oh, you think they're gonna do another one?
No. I think that what this tells me is they're
Mm-hmm.
not going for higher power. They're
Mm-hmm.
going for Series S power in a handheld.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, in a handheld, yeah, yeah.
That's what that tells me. They
Yeah.
don't give a shit about going higher power anymore, even though just a couple days ago they were talking about the next console being amazing power, and they went with the fucking power narrative again, and it was really funny for like 10 seconds. And then like they are not going to go further down the line with power because PlayStation actually innovated. PlayStation, Mark Cerny, the gosh dang Gandalf looking himself, literally innovated and said, hey, there's not a chipset out there with the partners that we have that can do what I want. I'm going to build it into their chipset and make it our chipset. And then we're going to license the tech back to them so we can now make money off of every PC user that gets it as well in the future. Thanks, guys.
Boss moves.
Like, just, and when we're pushing, not we, that's another thing that fans do a lot of times. We say we when it ain't we. They are pushing the console boundaries every single time they release a new console. The PlayStation 3 didn't struggle. I can't say fail because it actually beat Xbox that year or that cycle, but it didn't struggle because it was a weak box. It struggled because it was a monster to develop for. The box was powerful as shit, but it was hard to develop for. So now Xbox has gone the opposite direction and made a box that struggles to play games on split screen, struggles to do co-op, struggles to get games like Wukong on there, struggles to get games like Baldur's Gate 3, literally has other companies who don't want to deal with it, skipping it altogether. And not just for their first game, but now the studio that made Quantum Error is making their second game, and they're already skipping Xbox on that one as well. Like,
My,
companies, go ahead.
my take is that I think that a lot of people don't really see how important xCloud is for the Series S is for xCloud, because the server blades, people said the server blades is that of the Series X. Now I get that, but the thing is, you don't want to thrash out all your server blades, do you? You want them to last for a long time. You want to. My understanding is that all their games on xCloud are running on Series S specs, so you don't want to just
Yeah, they are.
yeah. So you don't want to run up and thrash out your CPU with 60 frames per second. You don't want to make it so that all the games are just running high fidelity and like really heating up all those servers. So you keep it low, and then the Series S is keeping all that in check, making it so that okay, we want a game to be able to run this because we don't want to have our stuff heating up, and that can be that's something that's business centric, but it's not gamer centric. That's not good for gamers. So that push, I don't care how people want to spin it about more people can get access to games. It's like, come on, like there's so many easy ways to get into gaming. We don't need. I mean, I don't want to be mean to people with lower money. So like I appreciate that there is a cheaper option. I will say that. But everyone else sort of all the gamers on a Series X are losing out a little bit and getting things delayed because of it. And that's upsetting for those gamers. But I don't want to discount people who don't have a bigger budget. So I do respect that it exists for them, but Phil trying to twist it isn't surprising because like it's his job to sell his hardware. And if you're a salesman, your job is to say what you have is the best and what everyone else has isn't as good. You don't want to disparage other people's stuff. You look like an idiot, but saying that you've got better stuff is sort of his job to sell it. Like, it shouldn't be surprising that he says like how good his team is and how good his hardware is. Like that really is his job. And a lot of CEOs would say the same thing, even if it's not like fully true. You want to hype up your team that you might fire next week.
I damn. I am okay.
Yeah.
I am totally
Sorry,
okay
yeah.
hyping up the team and doing all of that. but you can do it in a way that doesn't make you look like a blaming idiot.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I'm not
that's
defending Phil. I'm just saying, yeah.
no, and I know you're not, but like, there is so much to this that makes me scratch my head. Like, you're literally saying, well, there's devices coming out that are gonna be lower powered, and so because we've already been building for that type of a device, so what you're telling me is that the ROG Ally is just as powerful as the Series S, or reverse that. That's what you're telling me, is that this little tiny handheld has more power than your box does. Okay, cool. Let's see what else you have to say about this because I'm interested now.
That our games have
Here we
been
go.
built and they're portable across many different specs. So when we look at something like a Steam Deck or a ROG Ally or something, we've got this S version of the games that's more tailored to the device specs of a lot of devices that frankly are getting introduced right now. And I think that helps us. And frankly, the scalability of engines today allows them to scale from ray trace enabled multi-$1,000 graphics card on desktop PCs, all the way through a handheld battery powered device. So for
Okay, and that's where we're going to stop because I just want to point this out. They are built to scale across multiple devices. So in theory, Avowed should be able to be 30 FPS on the S, 60 FPS on the X, and 60 and
Facts.
120 FPS on the PC.
Facts.
The parody.
If
No, you made a good point because he's saying that multi-$1,000 PCs should be able to run it better. Cool, Phil. Why doesn't the Series X run about at 6? Like, why won't it?
Thank you.
Him saying that he's implying that the ROG Ally is going to be running a Series S version. It's like the ROG Ally is not playing a Series S version. It's playing the PC version.
Right.
But see how he's being misleading. He wants idiots who watch. No, sorry, I don't want to say idiots. He wants people to just hear what he's saying and just go, oh yeah, the ROG Ally and handhelds are all running the Series S version. And I think he wants them to just not look into it and just run with that. I feel like that he's just planting the seed of I don't want to say misinformation, planting the seed for people to run off and just think that that's what it is. But yeah, whatever.
It's just
I'm still tilted every time you bring that up. I see it says games played on all screens or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, multi-plats. The biggest games like Fortnite and Call of Duty are the most played games. Say it ain't fucking so. Like that isn't news. Like that's just also misleading. But anyway,
it's also
whatever.
nothing that they did. Like everything that they have done has failed and fallen and is a shell of its former self. Hell, the Xbox consoles this generation are a shell of their former selves. Like, if you would have looked at me not even the Xbox, if you would have looked at me when the Xbox One was out, okay, not the 1S, 1X, all that bullshit, and you would have told me, hey, they're going to do a mid-gen refresh, it's going to kind of kick PlayStation's ass. I would have looked at you and said, okay, maybe. Probably not. But then the next one, they're going to build this super powerful console, but it's not going to matter. I would have looked at you and said you're absolutely ridiculous because it's always go for the bigger power, go for the higher frames, go for the better look, go for the better presentation. That's what it's always been. Nintendo went to the Super Nintendo, doubled its graphics capability. It went from there to the Nintendo 64, doubled its graphics capability. And then you had the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 doubled its graphics. It's always been an attempt to double. From 8 to 16, from 16 to 32, from 32 to 64. Like, it's always been about pushing the boundaries of what the consoles can do, and Nintendo and PlayStation have done it better than any other companies out there. That is why they stay around and other companies die and other companies leave. And Josh, I agree. They are idiots. He should have just said it because they are. But
Yeah, I was just trying to be like, just because someone
you were trying to be
is
Australian.
not-
I get it.
Well, yeah, like if someone isn't like what's the word? What's the word? They're new to a topic. Just because they're new to a topic and they don't understand everything about it doesn't make them an idiot. It just means they're just naive to the topic. That's all. So yeah, that's the thing. I feel like a lot of people just like they'll ask a random general question about a topic they don't know anything about, and then they don't know the answer, and they treat them like they're an idiot. It's like no, they haven't learned that topic, so they don't know.
That's
So I just didn't want to just paint everyone an idiot for not understanding
That's fair.
that handhelds are PCs at the moment. There's not an Xbox handheld yet.
So
Like
Morgan,
he's
what
sort
do
of
you
implying.
what do you think? Give us your final thoughts on this. What do you if
I think that his need to essentially say that, hold on, sorry, had to mute that. His need to say that, scalability. That's I swear that's a lot of Xbox, not only the corporate, but also the fans' favorite thing to say. Oh, scalability, especially when it comes to the S. Especially when it comes to games that are skipping or delayed on the S. It's like, but games are meant to be scaled. Look at PC, and I'm just like, but at the end of the day, PC has a spec sheet, right? They have a
Yeah,
minimum and they have a maximum, and to sit here and pretend
Yep.
like they port or they develop for every spec on PC is stupid because they don't. And then they try to say, well, if a game is Steam, Deck verified, why isn't it on the S? And I'm just, or
Because it has more,
it
anyway. Yeah,
has more
sorry.
RAM, right? Like,
Yeah.
there are so many different factors, and it's
Yeah.
just like, I'm like, it's not a one for one, like Phil's, like you said, Wara Wana, like Phil's trying to claim it is. Like, it's just a simple scalability thing, and another thing is like, they another thing with the Steam Deck that I see a lot of Xbox fans say is, well, I don't see developers complaining about having to develop for the Steam Deck, and that's the thing, they don't have to.
They don't.
It's not a requirement, which is why every game
Yeah.
is not Steam Deck verified. Okay.
Yeah.
Now they can go the extra mile and make a Steam Deck verified version, but it's not a requirement. Unlike with Xbox, there is a parity clause. They can't just skip out on the S and just make a Series X version. It's required that if you're going to make an Xbox version of a game, both the Series S and X have to be developed for.
Yeah,
The only reason. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. I want two things. I wonder whether Phil actually mentioned this so that later people can defend the Series S and going, no, that's the groundwork for the Xbox handheld that's coming because he mentioned that that's going to run. And I was like,
that's going to happen. That's gonna happen.
100%. I can smell it already. I can smell it already. I can smell the Xbox sweat.
He was thinking 10 steps ahead, guys, before it even happened, before the handheld even got announced.
Yeah, I feel bad about. I feel like we never hear from Sarah unless it's bad news. I feel like they're just milking Phil, and they're not.
Making Sarah the poster child of bad news.
Because he mentions her and says that she's over hardware, and like
he keeps saying you need to speak to her about it. When he had an interview with IGN and McCaffrey or whatever his name, Ryan McCaffrey, he's like, you're gonna have to ask Sarah about details, and I'm just like, now you're talking all about hardware with everyone else. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get in. Yeah, like we don't know. But what's his name? Mr. Grimm. One more thing after this as well. Mr. Grimm said it's easier to make a game for the lowest spec console and then scale it up to the more powerful console. Doing the reverse is very difficult. That's what generations are for, though, is to have a new area to build up to, because we wanted bigger and better games. Like, not necessarily as in like bigger open world, but like we want them to push the boundaries, and the Series S isn't doing it. But we've been saying this for 4 years. Like it's we know that if you just build for the Series S and then work your way up, it's fine. That's why building a port from PS4 to PS5 is easier than making it like Helldivers 2, say, launch on PS4 would be a lot more difficult. So, and then one more thing that you also said when you talked about specs on Steam for minimum requirements. Someone asked me today, I think it was Thrifty. No, Josh. Josh asked me in the Discord, what do you think about the minimum specs for PC for Spider-Man 2? And I said, well, we should look at this and compare it to the Spider-Man remastered version that went to PC, because that was built for PS4, whereas Spider-Man 2 was built for PS5. So the minimum should actually be higher than the Spider-Man 1 version. So while I haven't put them side by side to compare, I'm interested to see whether it's got like higher minimum specs, which it should have, I'm sure Nate will have better insight maybe if he wants to comment, but yeah, like this whole scalability thing, it's not infinite scalability with the game, like Morgan said. It's just it's you're
you just
picking
press
a
a button.
window. Yeah, you're
That's
picking
it.
a window. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a button, sorry.
Just a button. And then all of a
It's
sudden you have a PlayStation and then an Xbox version. You just press a button, and then the X or the circle changes to a B. That's how I was told it was done. Like it's really
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, did you hear that the Ninja Gaiden? I was saying it wrong before.
Gaiden.
Yeah, Ninja Gaiden was on PC Game Pass. It wasn't acknowledging an Xbox controller. It had to use
Yeah, I
a
saw
DualSense.
that.
It
That's
had to
crazy.
use a PlayStation 1.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Sony Money had the ability to use a controller on PC.
Well, that's definitely what happened. Big Money had it from Xbox, so Xbox
Yeah,
took the bag and was like,
Now
"Okay,
they're
yeah,
doing-
we'll fuck over our own consumers." Yeah.
Yeah, you've heard of console exclusivity. Now this is controller exclusivity.
Oh shit, Wara! Don't
Yeah.
give them
Put
any
it past
ideas.
Sony.
Like that's what I'm
The industry
saying.
is changing.
An
The
evil
industry's
corporation.
changing.
Listen, so
Damn.
okay, so to be fair, Sony let people make controllers for their systems back in the day, and they were shit. So I'm not necessarily upset at Sony for being the way they are sometimes and protecting their stuff and putting this fence around all of their shit. Like, don't. I've used a Mad Catz controller, and so have every damn one of y'all. Like, we all know how bad those things were, and that's what happens when you let other people touch your shit and make stuff and do things for it. Like, no. Anyways, guys, we have been here for 3 hours and 22 minutes. Holy cow. We have had about 38 people in here at most. That is awesome. I really appreciate it, guys. If y'all could, if you've made it all the way through, please, 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 after the video, or after this is over, go to the video and please leave a comment. It helps a ton. It can say hi, bye, kiss my ass, whatever you want it to say that's allowed on YouTube, it can say. It helps out a ton. It also helps that all of y'all stuck with it and y'all were super great in the chat tonight. Morgan, as always, it's a treasure to have you on here. The audience absolutely loves it, and I am super thankful. Morgan, where can they find you?
Oh, it's always fun to be on the playground. Okay, so they can find me on Twitter.
She said the name of the show,
sometimes.
guys. She said the name.
I broke the fourth wall there. Sorry about that. But yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes I guess. Or not, I'm on and off Twitter. It's just, especially nowadays, the misinformation on that app is insane. But yeah, I'll be tweeting a lot though about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I know I keep talking about it, but I am going to be tweeting about that game to the point where it's going to get very annoying. So get ready to mute me if that's your preference. But yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter. You can find me on PlayStation. Same name, just chilling, playing games. Being in the chat, talking to you guys. Thank you everybody for coming through. Thank you Thrifty for having me. Wara Wana, it's always good to talk to you, especially now in person. So yeah, see you guys.
Heck yeah. Wara, where can they find you? I know you don't do X, but I know you have 2 channels on YouTube, so tell the folks about those.
Yeah, so guys, make sure you go check out the Otter podcast for sure. It's great Saturday afternoons or Sunday mornings for us Aussies.
No.
No chatters, can't do it. But yeah, especially if you like Power Rangers. But yeah,
Yes.
so my channel's
But
just
only the
Wara Wana,
shitty
my
Power
name.
Rangers, not the good Power Rangers. It can only be the shitty ones.
Yeah. No,
Go ahead,
They've
sorry.
got a great panel there. Good. And then also check out King Thrasher's new channel as well. I think Thrifty already said it earlier, but go check out his new channel. His other one was taken down from saltiness, and it's just not something I like to see. And then he's also got great content. He swears a bit, but we'll let it slide.
A bit.
I would never swear. But yeah, so Wara Wana and then Wara Wana plays. But I'm always in the Thrifty's Discord, so if you want to hit me up or talk to me there, we can talk there. We talk there. We're pretty active in that chat, so feel free to come chat if you want. Yeah. And thanks for listening, guys. You're great.
Guys, I echo everything that Wara just said, especially about the Autoplayer
Yeah.
podcast. Great, great group of folks over there. Even Omar.
They're just lying right now. Don't even listen
No,
to what they're
no.
talking about.
Listen, the fact that y'all do that show every week and it's always fire, like I love it. And the way that you and Omar have this like brother sister type thing going on, it's absolutely
It's
comical.
definitely my brother.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely it's like watching my two children fight. And it's great because it's the pettiest of petty bullshits and it's awesome. And
It's actually great because like this is the first time one of the first times I've heard Morgan talk while I'm not running and sweating and like and normally when the older podcast is on I'm running and Omar's saying some wild shit and I'm just trying to comment while my hands are too sweaty to like push the buttons, not the buttons, but I push the screen and it's like acknowledging the wrong things. So it's always mistyping. It's so frustrating. But yeah, anyway.
Shout out to Omar.
So
Shout out to
listen,
Omar.
y'all need to go over there, check that out. Check out Wara's channels. He has been doing some videos lately that have been getting some attention. Like 1,000 views, 1.3K views. Like, go check out his stuff. He does really good, high quality videos. I really enjoy them. They're usually short in length, so it doesn't take a long time. He's not as bad as me. He doesn't waffle on about bullshit all the time. He actually gets to the point and gets out. So, really, really good. Go check those out. Next week, we have our very special episode next week, and I call it our special episode because it's the one time a year I get to have Josh on here. And so Josh Ayers will be the one on here next week. I am dropping my, to anybody who's listening who's been on the panel before, I am dropping my obligatory, hey, here's the next 8 dates that I have. You get to pick one. I'll be sending those out soon. If you want a spot on the show, you've been a member of the community, you've not like a member as in like paid member of the channel, but like you've been involved in the community, you're involved in the Discord, reach out to me. We can make it happen. I love having our community members on here. It is the backbone and the point of this show. So reach out to me. We'll find a place to put you. I promise. I want to hear everybody's thoughts. Thank y'all again for coming out. Y'all have a wonderful night. Oh, PlayStation dropped a new sale today on PlayStation Network. Go check that out and stay thrifty.
Enjoy gaming, guys.